mean all the cases have to go to the Supreme Court, and if they entertain the case, then it may set a wrong precedence as well. Another important observation was definitely with regard to freedom of speech cases, because Mr. Singhvi had argued that earlier Supreme Court has granted release in cases of other journalists, but the Chief Justice of India remarked that there are certain cases there's some rights. Those particular cases were about freedom of speech and expressions that are exercised by journalists in the country. Okay. And there are some rights which are elevated.
Stay with you for a moment. More reactions coming in of the opposition BJP. Let's quickly listen in.
काम है झूठ बोलना, झूठा प्रचार करना, लेकिन शराब का घोटाला, दिल्ली के युवाओं को नशे में डुबोने का जो काम अरविंद केजरीवाल और उसकी पार्टी कर रही थी, लेकिन अब इस घोटाले से वो बच नहीं पाएंगे और निस्संदेह न्यायालय अपना काम करेगा, न्यायिक एजेंसी अपना काम कर रही है।
इसकी लगाने वाली है, जब कॉन्फ्रेंस करेगी तब कई एलिगेशन है बीजेपी पे लगाने वाली है, क्योंकि ये कहा जा रहा लगातार कि अगर रिहाई नहीं होती है तो आप पार्टी प्रदर्शन भी करेगी, और जो कल भी किया था।
लोकतंत्र में प्रदर्शन करना सबका अधिकार है, लेकिन वो क्या आरोप लगाएंगे क्या नहीं लगाएंगे, संभावनाओं पे क्या जवाब देना। लेकिन सबको मालूम है, दिल्ली की जनता का बच्चा बच्चा कह रहा है कि स्कूलों के पास, मंदिरों के पास शराब के ठेके खोलने की ज़रूरत क्या थी, कमीशन 2% से 12% करने की ज़रूरत क्या थी, दलाली का पैसा किसके पास जा रहा था, इतने सारे मोबाइल फ़ोन तोड़ने की ज़रूरत क्या थी। तो ये सब बातें तो मनीष सिसोदिया को बतानी पड़ेंगी।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि गो टू हाई, ये कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस इसके बैठेंगे।
वो माननीय न्यायालय का निर्णय है, उनको मानना ही चाहिए, मानना भी पड़ेगा।
So the Supreme Court directing Abhishek Manu Singhvi to follow due process of law. Nalini, you were also in court. So did Abhishek Manu Singhvi explain the reason why they approached the Supreme Court directly? The court did say that, of course, they do have powers, but they would use them at an appropriate time. Right now, due process of law should be followed.
Well, Gaurav, what Abhishek Manu Singhvi made out the case, what he said was there was a sense of urgency in this entire case, and along with that, the reason why this case was so important and why they approached the Supreme Court directly is because there are about 18 portfolios of the Delhi government that fall under Manish Sisodia. He is not just the number 2 of the Aam Aadmi Party, a political party, but at the same time, he is also the Deputy Chief Minister of the national capital, and several important aspects of governance are being stalled due to his arrest, which is why it was important for them to try and get some sort of a favourable order from the Supreme Court so that some little relief or respite could come in for the Delhi Deputy CM. But at the same time, the Supreme Court's in very categorical words saying that if we allow this, it's going to set a bad precedent, because all of the petitions for bail will then directly start coming to the Supreme Court, and there's a proper procedure in place for a reason. It doesn't matter that he is the Deputy CM. He has to follow the proper procedure. First knock on the doors of the Delhi High Court, and in case he does not get any relief from there, he always has the option to appeal before the Supreme Court. But to file an Article 32 petition in the Supreme Court directly without even exhausting any of his other legal remedies is something that the Supreme Court's not going to allow, because that's going to mean that it's going to be an extraordinary circumstance that's going to be created specially for Manish Sisodia. At the same time, the Supreme Court also said that none of the past cases, past precedents that Abhishek Manu Singhvi was relying on can be applied in this case, primarily because those cases were about the freedom.
Nalini, we are also getting a reaction now from the Congress party, and I want to quickly cut across and listen in to Ajay Makan.
मनीष सिसोदिया से जरा सी भी हमदर्दी रखने हैं, उन सभी लोगों से मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि वो इस बात को समझ लें कि ये सीधे के सीधे ओपन एंड शट भ्रष्टाचार का मामला है, और ये बहुत बड़ा दिल्ली के अंदर शराब का, लिकर का स्कैम हुआ है। इसको उस तरीके से देखना चाहिए। हम लोगों को ये बताना चाहते हैं, केजरीवाल और आम आदमी पार्टी ये कह रहे हैं कि इनके साथ में बहुत बेइंसाफी हो रही है। क्या बेइंसाफी हो रही है इनके साथ में? इन्होंने खुद ने 4 सितंबर 2020 को मनीष सिसोदिया ने, इनकी सरकार ने एक कमेटी बनाई कि कमेटी बताए कि एक्साइज पॉलिसी में क्या चेंज होने चाहिए। कमेटी ने जो रिपोर्ट दी ठीक उसका उल्टा कर दिया कि ताकि भ्रष्टाचार हो सके। कमेटी ने ये कहा कि आप होलसेल की, जो भी इसकी होलसेल का ट्रेड है, उसको सरकार अपने हाथ में ले ले, जैसे कर्नाटक के अंदर होता है। इन्होंने उसकी जगह होलसेल का सरकार अपने पास में ले ले, इसकी जगह 6% पहले कमीशन होता था, उसको बढ़ा करके 12% कमीशन कर दिया। और ये पूरी तरीके से एस्टैब्लिश हो चुका है कि उस 12% के अंदर 6% वापस इन लोगों ने ले लिया। तो जब करप्शन इन्होंने किया, 6% होलसेल को बढ़ा करके कमीशन को 12% कर दिया। इनकी अपनी ही द्वारा कमेटी बनाई हुई कमेटी ने कहा कि इसको निजीकरण मत करिए, इसको सरकार के खुद के अपने हाथ में लेना चाहिए। तो ये करप्शन नहीं है तो क्या है? और वो पैसा कम से कम 100 करोड़ का मनी ट्रेल मिल गया, जो कि पैसा इन्होंने गोवा के चुनाव में कांग्रेस के खिलाफ में लड़ा। तो जो कांग्रेस के तमाम नेता हैं, मैं उनसे बताना चाहूंगा कि यह पैसा कांग्रेस के खिलाफ में आम आदमी पार्टी ने इस्तेमाल किया। इस चीज को समझे, यह पैसा देश विरोधी लोगों के साथ में मिलकर के उनकी मदद करने के लिए आम आदमी पार्टी ने खर्च किया। इस चीज को ये लोग समझे। और इसी कमेटी ने रिपोर्ट ये कहा कि जो रिटेल सेक्टर है वो एक से ज्यादा किसी को नहीं दिया जाना चाहिए ताकि मोनोपोली ना हो सके। और उन्होंने ठीक इसका उल्टा किया। इसी कमेटी ने कहा कि इस रिटेल सेक्टर में एक एक को ऑक्शन में दिया जाना चाहिए, उसको पहले रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए लोगों से आमंत्रित किया जाना चाहिए। रजिस्ट्रेशन के माध्यम से अगर 50,000 या 1 लाख रुपया रखेंगे तो 1,000 करोड़ रुपया सरकार कमाएगी। इस कमेटी का यह कहना था और इन्होंने उसको नहीं कहा, उन्होंने इसको इसके अंदर भी मोनोपोलाइजेशन कर दिया। हुआ ये कि जो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स से लेकर मैन्युफैक्चरर्स, उन्होंने कंपनी अपनी ही कोई कंपनी और नहीं बना करके उन्होंने होलसेलर बना दिया, अपनी तीसरी कंपनी बना करके उन्होंने रिटेलर बना दिया। वही मैन्युफैक्चरर्स होलसेलर बन गए, वही होलसेलर रिटेलर बन गए और सबका सब मोनोपोली के अंदर लेकर के उन लोगों ने करप्शन इसमें किया है, जो पूरी तरीके से एस्टैब्लिश हुआ है। तो कोई ये ना सोचे इसके अंदर कि ये वही आम आदमी पार्टी है जिसने भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ाई लड़ी। दुख की बात यह है कि आम आदमी पार्टी, जिसका निर्माण इसलिए हुआ था कि वो लोकपाल बनाएगा, आज लोकपाल भूल गए हैं और लिकर के अंदर, शराब के अंदर, इसी काम के अंदर वो लोग लग गए हैं। ये बड़े दुख की बात है। और इस पूरे पैसे का इस्तेमाल ये अपने पॉलिटिकल यूज के लिए कर रहे हैं, कांग्रेस पार्टी के खिलाफ कर रहे हैं। ये मैं तब सभी कांग्रेस के नेताओं से ये कहना चाहूंगा।
सर, क्योंकि आपने कांग्रेस नेताओं का जिक्र किया, मोस्टली
That's a big attack by Ajay Makan on the Aam Aadmi Party, saying this money, and that's his allegation, his point he's making, that he claims there is money trail of 100 crore rupees and that money was used against the Congress party in Goa. Let's listen into Saurabh Bharadwaj of the Aam Aadmi Party.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मामले को सुनने के लिए हमें आज शाम का समय दिया और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि क्योंकि आप हाई कोर्ट अभी जा सकते हैं, आपके पास इन सीढ़ियों के बीच में एक सीढ़ी है, तो आप पहले उस सीढ़ी पे जो है अपनी बात रखिए। और मुझे लगता है ये बात ठीक है, इसके अंदर कोई गलत बात नहीं है। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि आप माननीय हाई कोर्ट के पास अपनी बात रखें, तो हम हाई कोर्ट के अंदर जो है अब जाएंगे और अपनी बात रखेंगे और हमें पूरा यकीन है कि कोर्ट जो है हमें रिलीफ देगा।
तो लगता है कि जल्दबाजी में ये अति उत्साह में सुप्रीम कोर्ट चले गए, जबकि हाई कोर्ट का रास्ता था बीच में। उम्मीद थी कि पहले जाना चाहिए था, लेकिन डायरेक्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाना लगता है कि कदम सही नहीं था।
देखिए, हमारे तो उप मुख्यमंत्री जेल में हैं, कोई क्रिमिनल, कोई जेब कतरा, कोई स्मगलर, वो कोई ना है जेल में। 18 विभाग रखने वाले दिल्ली के उप मुख्यमंत्री जेल में हैं। हम तो हर जगह अर्जी लगाएंगे, हम तो सबसे ऊपर भगवान के यहाँ भी अर्जी लगाएंगे। हम ये नहीं सोचेंगे कि नहीं पहले लोअर कोर्ट चले जाएं, हाई कोर्ट चले जाएं। हम तो सबसे ऊपर भगवान के आगे अर्जी लगा रहे हैं रात से कि भगवान कुछ करे। तो इसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो कहा है वो हम करेंगे।
तो क्या आम आदमी पार्टी भगवान भरोसे है?
देखिए, पूरी दुनिया भगवान भरोसे है और ये जो मान ले वही उसी का कल्याण है जल्द से जल्द। जो नहीं मानता उसको नहीं पता चलता।
उम्मीद हाई कोर्ट से कुछ राहत मिलेगी?
बिल्कुल उम्मीद है, हाई कोर्ट से उम्मीद है, ईश्वर से भी उम्मीद है। पंजाब वाला, हाँ पंजाब।
So you heard Saurabh Bharadwaj there of the Aam Aadmi Party very clearly saying that as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, they will even approach God if it means getting Manish Sisodia out of jail quickly. Now, India Today has accessed details of Manish Sisodia's questioning by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Big story. The CBI is questioning Manish Sisodia about the kickbacks to a tune of 100 crore rupees, which were allegedly received as advance by Vijay Nair from the South Group in exchange for formulating and bringing a favourable excise policy, and that policy was later cleared by the Aam Aadmi Party government. The CBI is also questioning Manish Sisodia about the alleged kickbacks which were received apparently, and that is the CBI claim, through Hawala channels. The Delhi Deputy Chief Minister is being confronted with documentary evidence against him by the Central Bureau of Investigation. The entire interrogation is being recorded on camera. It's being recorded on TV cameras, in the visual cameras at the CBI headquarters, and the footage will be preserved. Why? Because it may be used not just to cross-question him later. These are video cameras at the CBI headquarters where the entire conversation is being recorded, but it's also being recorded so that it can be used either to confront Manish Sisodia or other accused in this case, according to CBI officials. So after that big liquor dangle in Delhi, all eyes now on the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, Manish Sisodia, and his alleged links, that's what the CBI claims, with the South cartel. In a stunning revelation, the CBI has alleged that there was a very clear quid pro quo that was struck with the South Group, comprising an Andhra Pradesh MP and YSR Congress leader Mungta Srinavalu and Reddy and his son. KCR's daughter K. Kavita has also been named in the liquor charge sheet. What really is this cartel and its alleged links with the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi and Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister in particular? We bring you this report.
After Manish Sisodia, is Kalvakuntla Kavita Rao next? With Sisodia's arrest, the BJP is now predicting that another big political gun will be arrested next by agencies in the Delhi liquor gate. And that is BRC MLC, Telangana Chief Minister KCR's daughter, K. Kavita. With months to go for elections in Telangana, BJP is going all out to gun for Kavita's arrest.
अभिषेक बोनीपल्लू और बच्ची बाबू गोरंटा के खिलाफ, जो कि के कविता के चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट बताए जाते हैं, उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई अगर होगी और जो तार अगर जुड़े पाएंगे तो चाहे कितना भी बड़ा आदमी क्यों ना हो, अगर आप विपक्ष के मुख्यमंत्री हैं तो आपका परिवार करप्शन करे और बच्चा रहेगा, ऐसा इस निजाम में नहीं चल सकता.
But the BRS is also fighting back with all its might. Kavita's brother K.T. Rama Rao lashed out at the Modi government, accusing the centre of misusing agencies. A veiled message of support, perhaps.
తెలంగాణకు పట్టిన శని, తెలంగాణకు పట్టిన దరిద్రం ఏదైనా ఉన్నదంటే ఈ భారతీయ జనతా పార్టీ అని చెప్పక తప్పదు. ఎక్కువ మాట్లాడినాం అనుకో, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇట్లా మాట్లాడినా కదా, పంపినరా వెంటనే ఈడీని పంపినరి, సిబిఐని పంపినరి, ఐటీని పంపినరి, ఈయన సంగతి చూడుండ్రి. వేట కుక్కల్లాగా ఆయన కింద ఉన్న సంస్థలను ఉసిగొల్పి ఇవాళ ప్రతిపక్షాల మీద దాడి చేయండి, కేసులు పెట్టండి, వాళ్ళని ఇరికియండి, జైల్లో పెట్టండి అనే ఒక దిక్కుమాలిన పని తప్ప ఇంకో మంచి పని అయితే చేస్తలేడు ప్రధానమంత్రి.
देखिए, 2 घंटे के लिए अगर सीबीआई ईडी किसी के पास भी आती है तो देश का बादशाह बन जाएगा आज के ज़माने में, लेकिन लोकतंत्र नहीं है, सिर्फ विरोधी है अपने, इसीलिए उनको सताया जा रहा है, जेल में डाला जा रहा है. मैंने कल भी कहा कि आपके पार्टी में सिर्फ संत महात्मा और साधु बैठे हैं क्या, कि 10 दिन हिमालय और केदारनाथ से अप डाउन करते हैं मंत्रालय में, उनको नहीं हाथ लगाने की हिम्मत आप.
But why is a Telangana leader's name being dragged into a Delhi excise policy case? The allegations stem from accused turned approver Dinesh Arora, who named K. Kavita. She's been named in the ED charge sheet as well, which claimed that the BRS MLC was contacted by the accused, changed multiple phones, and then destroyed these phones to get rid of evidence. But Kavita has dismissed all these allegations, calling it nothing but a witch hunt against her. Her former CA, Buchibabu Gorantla, has also been arrested by agencies in the case, spelling more trouble for her. KCR's daughter isn't the only one. YSR Congress Party MP Magunta Srinivasulu Reddy, his son Raghav Magunta, and businessman Sharath Reddy are also accused and collectively have been called the South Group by the ED. From Delhi to Telangana to Andhra, The investigation into the Delhi excise policy has opened a political can of worms across the country. Bureau Report, India Today.
We will track developments on the story very closely. A quick break. There's a very disturbing story that's coming up next on India Today. A Galwan hero's father was abused, thrashed and jailed over his son's memorial in Bihar. The police in Bihar claim that the memorial was being built on encroached land. But is this the way to treat a Galwan martyr's father? That story and lots more coming up. Stay with us.
I think there's an opportunity for India particularly to work with the United States and others.
India is the largest, has the largest vaccine manufacturer in the world.
I thought if it's blowing in the wind, it's best I'm on the motorcycle. And I did 15,000 kilometers in 36 days.
Rich countries have a particular obligation to exercise their investment in innovation.
I believe that global business has the money and the power.
Improvements in the way we understand the importance of education and healthcare.
You have a greater chance of killing yourself than of being killed by any soldier or terrorist or criminal.
Many who understand sustainability understand slow fashion is the way to go. So what's the problem? Slow fashion can be more expensive and more often than not is expensive compared to fast fashion. But there is a solution. Reuse, repurpose. Alternatively, go for something called as a closet detox. You can sell a big label on a pre-loved fashion platform to make the planet a better one so that all of that does not go into the landfill. What's more, you can even buy pre-loved clothing. Celebrities have now caught on to the pre-loved trend. Recently, Alia Bhatt, Deepika Padukone, Katrina Kaif and Anushka Sharma indulged in a closet detox, setting off a pre-loved revolution in India. While you give your closet a second life, remember you are also giving your planet another life. And with that, don't forget to reuse, repurpose, or alternatively, join the pre-loved revolution in India. In New Delhi with Vaishnavi Kaharwar, Chaiti Narula for India Today.
Akshay Kumar dropped a promo of his upcoming North America tour, The Entertainers. Sharing this clip, which also features the crew of the show, including Mouni Roy, Nora Fateh, Sonam Bajwa, among others, he wrote, and we quote, "A tiny dose of entertainment for you all, The Entertainers. North America, come join the madness and party with us in Atlanta on March 3, Dallas on March 8, Orlando on March 11th, and Oakland on March 12th. See you soon." Meanwhile, on the work front, Akshay was seen in selfie.
इनके लाखों करोड़ों फैंस की तरह मेरे और मेरे बेटे का भी सपना है अपने सुपरस्टार के साथ एक सेल्फी लेने का।
The film opened to a disastrous response and has failed to leave an impression on its opening weekend.
दुनिया जानती है कि अगर एक्टिंग के अलावा मेरा कोई दूसरा प्यार है तो वो है ड्राइविंग। मैं अनाड़ी तू खिलाड़ी, मैं खिलाड़ी तू अनाड़ी, मैं अनाड़ी तू खिलाड़ी। आजा शुरू से शुरुआत कर।
Directed by Raj Mehta, Selfie is a Hindi remake of Malayalam film Driving License. Starring Prithviraj Sukumaran and Suraj Venjaramudu, the 2019 release was a hit.
അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ നമ്പർ എൻ്റെ കയ്യിലുണ്ട്. നമ്മുടെ സിനിമയിലെ വാഴൂർ ജോസ് സാറിന്റെ കയ്യിൽ നിന്ന് വാങ്ങിയതാ.
പപ്പനെ കൊണ്ടാണ് തോപ്പിക്കാനൊന്നും പറ്റൂല.
കാണാടാ കാണാടാ.
Galwan's brave laid down his life. But Martyr's father thrashed and abused.
तो मारपीट किया गाड़ी में और थाना पर भी ले जाकर 2-4 चाटी
मरा है, तो वही फादर हमको बता रहा है.
Father jailed for paying homage to his son. Is this how we honor our brave hearts? Nitish government needs to answer.
Let me now get you more on this shocking story. Is this how we honor a brave heart? His father was insulted by the police in Bihar. Is Chief Minister Nitish Kumar watching this? Father of Sipahi Jai Kishore Singh. Now, Sipahi Jai Kishore Singh made the supreme sacrifice of his life at the Galwan Heights. Remember 15 June 2020 when the Chinese tried to transgress Indian territory at Galwan? 20 Indian braves made the supreme sacrifice of their lives, led by Colonel Santosh Babu. Well, Sipahi Jai Kishore Singh was one of those 20. He was awarded a Sena Medal for gallantry. He laid down his life for our nation. His father was dragged, thrashed and abused by the police in the Vaishali district, and a case under SC/ST Act registered against him for allegedly constructing a memorial in the memory of his son. There is now a dispute whether this land is owned by the government or another farmer. The father, Raj Kapoor Singh, constructed the memorial on the 24th of February last year in the village, and the family says several government officials, they participated in that function when this memorial was inaugurated. Now, the state police claims that the memorial for the Galwan martyr, Sipahi Jai Kishore Singh, was built on encroached land, and the martyr's father had been directed to remove this memorial 15 days ago or face legal action. Let's get you more voices on this big and a very disturbing story.
11 बजे रात में जय किशोर के पापा को घिसेटते, बिछावन पर से मारते, घिसेटते, लात से मारते हुए घुसा के गाड़ी में लेके चल गए.
And I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Aditya Vaibhav for more on this story. He joins us from Hajipur in Bihar. Aditya, why did the police assault the father of a martyr? Why wasn't this amicably resolved?
Well, exactly, Gaurav. This is the question that remains pertinent at this very point of time, that why was this issue not resolved amicably? Interesting to note here is the fact that if at all the version of the victim's family is concerned, of course the martyr's family is concerned, they are leveling serious charges as far as the conduct of the Bihar police and the local Bihar government officials are concerned. They have raised serious questions on the way Jandaha SHO has behaved, on the way he has come to the place, dragged his father, beaten him, bashed him, abused him and taken him into the custody, and finally that the martyr's father is lodged inside.
कानून के रास्ते से आओ. The Supreme Court refused to grant any indulgence to one of the most prominent faces on anti-corruption movement led by Shri Anna Hazare, Mr. Manish Sisodia, and go and suffer the consequence of law and court. आज के सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश का सीधा मतलब यही है. अब बाकी क्या बहस हुई, क्या हुई, ये आपने टीवी पर देखा है, चलाया है. सुप्रीम कोर्ट से उनको कोई राहत नहीं मिली और ठीक नहीं मिली. जिन लोगों ने भ्रष्टाचार के नाम पर लड़ाई करते हुए देश के लिए एक नैतिक बल बनाने का दावा किया था, और कौन ईमानदार है और कौन नहीं ईमानदार है, उनका शासन क्या है कि दिल्ली में शराब पीने वालों की संख्या बढ़ाओ, शराब लेने की उम्र 21 की 18 कर दो, शराब के ठेके में पॉलिसी को बदल दो, जो एक्सपर्ट कमेटी की रिपोर्ट है उसको जीएम से चेंज करा दो, और दक्षिण से उत्तर 100 करोड़ का मुनाफा ले लो, जिसमें इस तरह के शर्तें डाल दो कि छोटे प्लेयर्स उसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर ही नहीं सके, तो ऐसे ही कार्टलाइजेशन हो जाता है। आप भी जानते हैं, आप उनकी अगर अहर्ता बड़ी कर दें एलिजिबिलिटी, और प्लस कमीशन को 2% से उठा के कितना कर दिया, 12%, तो दोनों फायदा। तो इससे अच्छी बात और क्या होगी। और 100 करोड़ रुपए मिले, ये तो पूरे मीडिया में चर्चा है, हम क्या बोल रहे हैं अपनी से। और आज मैंने मीडिया में एक और रोचक बात देखा है। जो दक्षिण भारत के ग्रुप बैठे हुए थे एक होटल में, वहां से जो उन्होंने फोटोकॉपी करके उनके एक सहयोगी को दिया, उन्होंने इसी पॉलिसी को बनाओ, और उसका नंबर वही था कागजों का जो नंबर होटल के फोटोकॉपी का था। और फिर आपके एक ग्रुप ने कहा कि नहीं, ये भी नहीं ठीक है, ये भी बदलाव कर दीजिए, तो भी भेज दिया गया। हम मेरिट पर बिल्कुल नहीं जा रहे हैं, हम सीधा कह रहे हैं सीबीआई ने क्या आरोप लगाया है, उसके क्या एविडेंस आए हैं। एविडेंस डिजिटल है, एविडेंस फिजिकल है। देयर इज डिजिटल एविडेंस एंड देयर आल्सो फिजिकल एविडेंस। अब मुझे यहां आके एक खबर मिली कि जो वीआईपी लोग थे उन्होंने 170 फोन बदला। शायद मनीष सिसोदिया ने भी 16 फोन बदला। अब तो मैं देश का थोड़ा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मंत्री रहा हूं, संचार मंत्री रहा हूं, तो मेरे भी आश्चर्य है अनिल बाबू कि एक नेता अपने 16 फोन बदलता है। हाँ? ये तो कमाल है साहब। तो ये फोन क्यों बदले जा रहे थे, ये रिकॉर्ड्स क्यों डिलीट किए जा रहे थे। आप तो बिल्कुल पारदर्शिता की प्रतिमूर्ति हैं, यही दावा आप करते हैं कि आप और अरविंद केजरीवाल हिंदुस्तान में एक नई पारदर्शिता को लेकर के आए हुए हैं। दिस क्वेश्चन बिकम्स वेरी रेलेवेंट मिस्टर सिसोदिया, बिकॉज वेदर यू और वेदर योर लीडर मिस्टर केजरीवाल, दे कीप ऑन गिविंग सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ ऑनेस्टी। He is honest, he is dishonest. And you are only deleting. You have shamed Anna Hazare. आपने अन्ना हजारे के ईमानदार आंदोलन की विरासत को बदनाम किया है। और दिल्ली में सबको शराब पिला के क्या करना चाहते हैं आप। कहा था कि हम स्कूल खोलेंगे, आप शराब की दुकान खोल रहे हैं। और थोड़ा मेरा राजनीति का अनुभव है, ये पूरे भारत के देश में कहीं नहीं सुना है कि जो शिक्षा मंत्री है वही शराब मंत्री भी है। ये तो और कमाल की बात है। और जिस तरीके से केजरीवाल साहब को क्या कहा जाए। अभी हम लोग गए थे, अनिल बाबू भी थे गुजरात के चुनाव में, तो वहां देखा उनका भाषण कि आईबी हमको रिपोर्ट दे रही है कि हम स्वीप कर रहे हैं। तो हम दोनों बात कर रहे थे कि आईबी की रिपोर्ट इनको कहां से मिल गई, वो भी स्वीप करने की। तो मालूम है उन लोग की जमानत जब्त हो गई, सुपर स्वीप तो भाजपा कर गई। अब कल देखा उनका ट्वीट पर सर्टिफिकेट आ गया कि सीबीआई के सभी लोग उनकी गिरफ्तारी के पक्ष में नहीं थे, दबाव में गिरफ्तार किया गया। केजरीवाल साहब कितना झूठ बोलेंगे। शराब के मुनाफा और कट और कमीशन के लिए कितना करेंगे। मुझे लगता था कि कट और कमीशन एक ही पार्टी की विरासत है, हाँ? लेकिन आज तो कहना पड़ेगा कि 3C केजरीवाल जी की पार्टी के लिए भी बोलना पड़ेगा। कट, कमीशन, करप्शन। और एक बात, मैं मेरिट पे विस्तार से नहीं जाऊंगा। अगर आपको इतना ही ये पूरी पॉलिसी अच्छी थी तो विड्रॉ क्यों किया था, आप मुझे बता दीजिए। तो ये जितना ये बोलते हैं उतने फंसते हैं, ये तो मैं कह रहा हूं। इसलिए आज का मूल विषय यह है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट से उनकी हार हुई है उनको कोई रिलीफ नहीं मिला, और जिस तरह से सीबीआई के खिलाफ आरोप, प्रधानमंत्री के खिलाफ आरोप, बिना मतलब का दबाव, और इस बात का हमारे पत्रकार में ध्यान रखें और आपके माध्यम से देश ध्यान रखे, इनके कई नेता जेल में गए हैं, किसी को बेल नहीं मिला है। सत्येंद्र जैन शायद 8-10 महीने से जेल में है ना, उनको बेल नहीं मिला ना, और अब इनका नंबर आया है। तो जैसा काम करोगे वैसी गति होगी। अब इस तरह की ओपन बातें करना, और आज मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि अगर यही बात है तो आप जाइए, क्वेश्चन की बात करिए हाई कोर्ट में, देखते हैं, देखा जाएगा, सीबीआई जवाब देगी अपना। जितना भी विषय मीडिया में आया है उससे स्पष्ट है कि यह करप्शन का टेक्स्ट बुक केस है। आई रिपीट, whatever has appeared in the media, this whole scandal is a textbook case of rampant corruption. और किनके द्वारा? जो देश में ईमानदारी का सर्टिफिकेट बांटते थे।
Big attack by the Bharatiya Janata Party in the national capital. Former Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad says this is a textbook case of rampant corruption, and that is why he insists that there was no relief for Manish Sisodia from the Supreme Court. This story and lots more coming up with Akshita Nandagopal after a short break on 6 p.m. Prime. Stay with us.
Wali painting, a mural art form of Maharashtra, gives the Aurangabad a facelift ahead of a G20 inception meeting. A group of 120 women painted non-stop for 6 hours to complete the artwork.
वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट शो करते हुए हम लोग ये जो प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं वारली का, वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट वारली पेंटिंग जो है, जिसका रिकॉर्ड पहले पूना में था, उसको पूना के रिकॉर्ड को ब्रेक करते हुए, उसको चैलेंज करते हुए आज हम सब लड़कियां, वी आर 120 लेडीज हियर वर्किंग फॉर दिस वारली पेंटिंग टुडे। और इसका सबसे बड़ा क्रेडिट जो जाता है, जो मेरी बहुत अच्छी फ्रेंड है, वो है नंदिनी घोडेले। ये कॉन्सेप्ट जो जहाँ से आई है, वो लड़की ने सर 21 इयर्स की लड़की है। दिस इज रियली अ मोटिवेशन टू ऑल द गर्ल्स ओवर हियर।
The work spread over 3,200 square feet will enter the India Book of Records 2024 in the social and cultural category. This painting breaks the earlier record of 3,050 square feet set by artists in Pune.
I congratulate all the dignitaries, those who have taken efforts, जिन्होंने इस इवेंट को एक सक्सेसफुल बनाया है, and congratulations to Aurangabad Municipal Corporation.
There were no professional artists among the 120 participants. They came from different professions like medicine, accountancy, and engineering. Bureau Report, India Today.
Tragedies can either break you or make you. And this story from Naxal hit Gadchiroli will inspire you in many ways. Bharati Bogami was just 17 when her father, the Sarpanch of Lahiri village, was shot dead by Naxals in 2002. A brain tumor survivor, she faced several financial problems and yet continued her struggle to become a doctor. She now serves in the same area where her father was killed.
मैं सोच रही थी अब तो पापा चले गए, आज ये सब होने के बाद अगर मैं
अगर यही मेरा फ्यूचर, अगर मैं पेपर ना दूँ तो आगे कैसे बढ़ूँ। मेरे पापा की एक ख्वाहिश थी कि मुझे बचपन से मुझे बोलते थे, नर्स बोलते थे, डॉक्टर बोलते थे, ऐसे मुझे अच्छा लगता था। पढ़ाई पूरी होने के बाद मैंने सोच लिया, या तो सब सिटी में रहकर सब लोगों को तो डॉक्टर है, लेकिन मेरे गाँव को मेरे लोगों की बहुत ज़रूरत है। मेरे दिल में ऐसे कुछ तो भी चुभन जैसी लग रही थी कि अपने गाँव जाके मैं सेवा दूँ, इसीलिए फिर मैं रिटर्न आ गई।
Bogami found a life and work partner in Satish, who moved from Beed to the tribal area only to support her dream of serving her village.
मेरी जो बीवी है उसने मुझे मोटिवेट किया कि उन्होंने मुझे ये बताया कि डॉक्टर प्रकाश आमटे, डॉक्टर मंदाकिनी आमटे, डॉक्टर दिगांत आमटे और डॉक्टर अंदाकिनी आमटे वो जो कार्य वहाँ करते, उनसे कुछ मैं इंस्पायर होके मुझे भी ऐसा कुछ लगा दिल को कि अपन जाके आरोग्य में थोड़ी तो सेवा देना। मेरे अंतर्गत जो 52 गाँव है वहाँ जाना इम्पॉसिबल है। कई बाइक पे जाना पड़ता, कई जगह 10-10 किलोमीटर चलते हुए जाना पड़ता, वो आरोग्य सेवा देना पड़ता है।
Bharati and her husband have made it an aim to serve people in her village where health facilities are not easily available. Bureau Report, India Today.
The integration of Air India and Vistara needs to go through a regulatory approval process. There are 3 steps to that process. One is competition clearance. The second is from a DGCA regulatory aviation perspective. And the third is obviously the merger of the 2 companies. We are in the process of the first phase, seeking competition clearance. But in anticipation of this, we are working together with some external parties to work on what are the areas of opportunity in an integrated business, what are the things that we need to focus on in the process of that integration, and what would the end state look like once we have received clearance to actually embark on the integration process. The intention is to end up with one full-service airline and one low-cost airline in the group. The full-service airline will be an amalgam of Air India and Vistara, but we expect that many of the practices and systems will be those of Vistara, being a younger, privatized airline that has been able to imbibe the learnings that it brings from its other shareholders. We are not unaware of what they have in terms of systems and processes. And so over the course of the privatization process and the last year, a lot of the
We've got big breaking news that's coming in. Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain have submitted their resignations in the face of Manish Sisodia now being remanded to CBI custody and no relief from the Supreme Court. The Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, who also holds 14 departments in the Delhi government, has submitted his resignation. We can also confirm for you that Arvind Kejriwal has accepted Manish Sisodia's resignation, and that's not all. Satyendra Jain, who's been languishing behind bars for nearly a year now, has also submitted his resignation. So 2 big faces, 2 of the biggest leaders in the Aam Aadmi Party besides Kejriwal have now resigned in the face of all these graft charges and of course because they are currently in custody. Manish Sisodia has submitted his resignation. This has obviously come from the AAP High Command, from Arvind Kejriwal himself, considering almost immediately his resignation has also in fact been accepted. So this is the big breaking news that's coming in. There was a lot of speculation, a lot of questions about how Arvind Kejriwal will continue to run his government when both Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia hold some of the most crucial portfolios. Manish Sisodia on his own holds 14 departments. So now the task will be for Kejriwal to kind of ensure that this is spread out among all of his ministers. Who will be given the large chunk of it is a big question mark. But this will also lead to questions about whether AAP is finally distancing itself from all of these mantris who've been accused in one graft case or the other and are in custody. Satyendra Jain, for nearly a year now, there's been no action like this. He hasn't resigned. There was no action taken against him. He remained the jail minister, as well as several other portfolios that were with him, stayed with him for nearly a year despite him being behind bars. But it looks like the trigger is Manish Sisodia also being remanded to CBI custody. Manish Sisodia's arrest seems to have woken up the Aam Aadmi Party and the Delhi government. And that's why both Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain have now resigned. We can tell you that almost immediately Arvind Kejriwal has accepted the resignation. So this is in no way Arvind Kejriwal trying to ditch his two mantris, but he's taken the step to essentially ensure perhaps that the Delhi government continues to function. Ashutosh is joining us with more details on this. Ashutosh, Manish Sisodia has resigned. Satyendra Jain has resigned. This is clearly a strategy by the AAP because immediately Kejriwal has accepted it.
Absolutely. And, this afternoon there was meeting at Chief Minister's residence about the further strategy of both the Delhi government and the Aam Aadmi Party. And remember, on the 10th of, between 8th of March to 10th of March, there will be budget session of the Delhi Assembly. And most likely on 10th of March, there will be a budget tabled in the Delhi Assembly. So as far as allocation of work is concerned, Manish Sisodia has almost 18 ministries after Satyendra Jain was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. So clearly, after two of the ministers holding important portfolios, almost 18 ministries, the work was totally affected. And even this because remember, even after Manish Sisodia's arrest, the AAP was not playing on back foot.
But what's prompted this? Ashutosh, let's face it, Satyendra Jain has been behind bars for nearly a year. All the while Arvind Kejriwal defended him, all the while he was allowed to go ahead and perform his ministerial duties from behind bars. What's changed now that's prompted Sisodia and Satyendra Jain to resign?
Basic arithmetic, basic mathematics. Out of 7 ministries, if your one minister, was jailed, 6 can, their work allocation portfolios can be made. But when you have two of your important ministers arrested or being jailed, then clearly your entire work is going to be affected. And Arvind Kejriwal, who has no portfolio at the moment, you cannot run a government with just barely 5 ministers, where you have only 4 working ministers and 1 the chief minister, who is the guiding authority. So clearly that is one strategy, because there is also political, if I remember, as I said, they are not playing on back foot. You see the protests on the street, you see how they are approaching court, and subsequently the governance, because most importantly is the budget, and also amidst of this G20 meeting, there are several PWD work, health work, education sector, everything that is very crucial, which is the key model of the Aam Aadmi Party. And that was perhaps the strategy that was designed, and which has led to this action, resignation by both of these two ministers, that has been accepted by the chief minister. What we know, that most likely in next 24 hours, there will be 2 other ministers from the AAP MLAs. They will be sworn in as a ministers, and there will be further allocation of the work. And
do we have any details about that? Do we have any details about that, Ashutosh? Because clearly, as you're pointing out, Arvind Kejriwal wanted to send out a message that governance will not suffer. And that's why Manish Sisodia as well as Satyendra Jain, optics-wise, it wouldn't have looked good if only Manish Sisodia was made to resign, because then the obvious question would have been, what about Satyendra Jain, who's been behind bars for nearly a year? And that's why, to ensure that there's a message of no differences within AAP, both have resigned and the resignations have been accepted. But who's going to get all of their important portfolios, Ashutosh? Any inside details on that?
Well, there was already a pressure from the BJP. Remember, very this evening, they demanded resignation from Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia after the arrest, and particularly there was no relief from the Supreme Court. So that led to considering all the factors and the consequences, both politically and the administrative work in the Delhi government. That was the decision taken in this afternoon by the Chief Minister and the party entirely. And of course, Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain, they both, offered their resignation. But when it comes to the allocation of work, that will be considered, I said, next 24 hours. There will be 2 new ministers in the cabinet, and the work allocation will be done. Several names are being discussed, where we have Atishi, and most likely it will be the vice chairman of the Delhi Jal Board, Saurabh Bharadwaj. These 2 names are the front runner, but there could be also some surprising elements. So remember, Saurabh Bharadwaj in the a few days of the governance in the first Kejriwal 1.0. He was a transport minister. Atishay Marlin has recently become MLA now. So these two names are the front runner, but we have to wait for the official confirmation. Yet again, we have a meeting at Delhi Chief Minister's residence where all the top senior leaders of the party will be meeting, and then not just the further strategy politically, administratively, but there will be decisions also on the two new faces who will be inducted in the cabinet and the work allocation that will be done.
You know, it was expected this would happen. Out of the total 33 departments in the Delhi government, 18 are with Manish Sisodia alone. And we're talking about some of the biggest portfolios like education, like finance, home, all of that is with Manish Sisodia. So obviously the government would be crippled with him in CBI custody right now. And would it look fair for Manish Sisodia alone to resign? It's because of that Satyendra Jain has also now submitted his resignation, because mind you, for the last many months, he's been behind bars. There's been no action by AAP against him. Kejriwal has staunchly defended him. So this in no way changes the AAP strategy. They're going to continue to defend Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain, but this is essentially to send out a message that governance will not take a hit. And that's why Arvind Kejriwal has perhaps requested both to resign. They've done so. Their resignations have been accepted. And the 18 departments that Manish Sisodia holds on to will now be spread across different ministers perhaps. Arvind Kejriwal maybe could take on a few as well. There will be also Satyendra Jain's portfolios. This is still going to be a crisis for Arvind Kejriwal to deal with, because these are all extremely important portfolios. He will have to ensure they are with capable hands, because he's trying clearly to send out a message that governance isn't going to take a hit. As far as politics is concerned, the BJP is going to declare this as a big, big win. They're going to say that we asked for the resignation, and this is the direct impact of our political demands, that now the Aam Aadmi Party is buckling under pressure. So we'll see how this plays out. But clearly, and I want to bring in Munish Pandey as well as Nalini Sharma on this broadcast. Munish, to you first. You know, this is a huge setback politically, but it also we have to keep in mind what's played out in the Supreme Court, what the CBI also has been saying in court yesterday, when they sought custody of Manish Sisodia. All of that also comes into play in this big decision by Arvind Kejriwal.
Absolutely, Akshita, and remember the core ideology of Aam Aadmi Party when it came into existence and also in power, that they are against corruption. But initially, when Satyendra Jain was arrested by the enforcement directorate, then the first question was asked by the Bharatiya Janata Party that a person has been arrested under charges of corruption. Why are you not taking any action? That was a direct question against Arvind Kejriwal. Okay. There was a lot on stake as far as
Manish,
the Aam Aadmi Party.
My apologies for interrupting, but I want to bring in Alka Lamba of the Congress on this broadcast. Ms. Alka Lamba, good evening. What do you make of this big move? Arvind Kejriwal has accepted the resignations of Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain.
देखिए, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को बहुत पहले ही सत्येंद्र जैन जी का इस्तीफा ले लेना चाहिए था, लेकिन मनीष सिसोदिया जी की गिरफ्तारी के बाद और सुप्रीम कोर्ट की राहत न देने के बाद दिल्ली का पूरा लोगों का एक दबाव केजरीवाल सरकार पर था, क्योंकि स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय ताक पर रखा गया है पिछले 8-9 महीनों से, और मनीष सिसोदिया जी के पास 18 विभाग हैं। दिल्ली कैसे चलती? तो दिल्ली के दबाव में आकर केजरीवाल को ये फैसला लेना पड़ा है। केजरीवाल लेना नहीं चाहते थे, पर उन्होंने लिया है, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी राहत नहीं दी। और अब बिल्कुल मालूम है सीबीआई 4 तारीख तक जो रिमांड में रखे हैं मनीष जी को, उस पे जो है बिल्कुल दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होने वाला है, क्योंकि भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस का साफ मानना है कि शराब नीति में एक बहुत बड़ा भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है। वो रिपोर्ट मुख्य सचिव ने तैयार की थी और उस आधार के पर ही सीबीआई ने जांच बिठाई, जिसके डर से शराब नीति मनीष सिसोदिया और दिल्ली सरकार ने वापस ली थी।
लेकिन क्या आपको लगता है अलका लांबा जी कि Kejriwal, all right, Alka Lamba, thank you for joining us. Amit Malviya, BJP IT cell chief, is joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Amit Malviya, what do you make of this development? Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia, both have now submitted their resignations and it's been subsequently accepted.
Let's not make a virtue out of a necessity. Arvind Kejriwal had no option but to accept both the resignations, because if he had not done so, he would have had to conduct his next cabinet meeting in Tihar. And let's not forget that Satyendra Jain has been in jail for the last several months and he continues to be a minister. So Arvind Kejriwal did try to defend his ministers for as long as he could. But now that the position has become untenable, he had no option but to seek their resignation and accept it. So really, the party that came out of an anti-corruption movement is now fully covered in glory, because of these corruption cases, and Arvind Kejriwal is the person behind all of this. And it's also a message to the Aam Aadmi Party workers that Kejriwal will use you as cannon fodder and discard you when it becomes inconvenient.
The AAP will no doubt argue, Amit Malviya, that this is a message from Arvind Kejriwal that he will not let governance suffer in Delhi.
Oh, really? He should have, in that case, sacked Satyendra Jain several months ago. Was Satyendra Jain's absence not impeding governance? Or how would it change the situation now if Sisodia also went to jail? Only thing now left is that Arvind Kejriwal should join them in Tihar and hold cabinet meetings out of there. I think it's in independent India's history, this is the first time that a cabinet, and a small cabinet like Delhi, has 2 ministers in Tihar jail. It should be an embarrassment for Arvind Kejriwal, but then there is nothing that embarrasses the man.
Okay, Amit Malviya, thank you for joining us here on India Today. So the BJP is saying that this is not a question of some moral high ground that Arvind Kejriwal is taking on governance, because Satyendra Jain then would have been sacked much earlier. It was a necessity considering that 2 of his top ministers are currently behind bars. Manish Sisodia, of course, is in CBI custody. Preeti Chaudhary is joining us live with more details on this. Preeti, explain to us what really is Arvind Kejriwal's strategy here. It's clear that the command has come from the top, which is why things have gone so smoothly, that Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia both have resigned. And this has never been asked before of Satyendra Jain. He's been behind bars for nearly a year.
Well, you know, it's a two-pronged strategy if you look at it, Akshita. At one angle, Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party want to put forth in public domain that governance where Delhi comes into question will not suffer, because primarily you have Satyendra Jain, who held the portfolio of health, and mind you, every portfolio, PWD health, that Satyendra Jain held when he was arrested, those portfolios were shifted to Manish Sisodia. Manish Sisodia now has 18 portfolios of the 33 where the cabinet is concerned. So primarily that would mean that governance would come to a standstill of sorts. So in public domain, the message is that we are working for Delhi. We are fighting this massive fight of vendetta politics, is what the Aam Aadmi Party would like to project. But we are going to make sure governance does not suffer. On the other hand, Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal was left with little option but to make these resignations happen, primarily, Akshita, because there's no way that Arvind Kejriwal can function without at least 2 new cabinet ministers in the fray. So my bet is, and what I'm given to understand, that very soon we'll have 2 new ministers who will be coming in, and some of the portfolios will be transferred to Kailash Gehlot and other ministers. There is a possibility, which is being mulled upon where the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, that only the portfolio of finance Arvind Kejriwal might keep, and the rest might be distributed with 2 new ministers coming into fray. Who those 2 new faces are, there's speculation. Once we get a basic confirmation, we're going to confirm those names. But having said that, like I said, it's a multi-pronged strategy. Number one, put out the message in public domain that the Aam Aadmi Party is working for Delhi citizens. We are not going to let governance suffer. They are coming down on our leaders hard, but we will make sure we deliver the promise of governance.
My apologies for interrupting. Reactions coming in. Ravi Shankar Prasad currently speaking.
दामन बचाने के लिए मजबूरी में ये दोनों का इस्तीफा लिया, क्योंकि आप लोग लंबे समय से इस्तीफे की मांग कर रहे हैं।
दामन में बहुत धब्बे हैं, प्रतीक्षा करिए, कई चीज अपने आप निकलती है ना, बस। हाँ, लेकिन जब धब्बे बड़े होते हैं तो वो फिर बच नहीं पाते हैं, इसलिए प्रतीक्षा करिए, ठीक है? We have just learned that Mr. Manish Sisodia has resigned, and so has Mr. Satyendra Jain. And to our great surprise, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has also accepted the resignation of Mr. Satyendra Jain after 9 months. Come on. If Mr. Manish Sisodia had any moral compass left, being the disciple of Anna Hazare movement, he ought to have resigned on the day this scandalous allegations came to light. He ought to have told, first I will get exonerated, then I will come back. But his plea in the Supreme Court was, I am looking after 18 departments, therefore please give me bail. The keenness was there to run the department, not to explain the scandalous case of corruption. Therefore, again, I would repeat, the whole conduct of Aam Aadmi Party is typified by 3C: cut, commission and corruption. Thank you.
So that's the reaction that's come in from Ravi Shankar Prasad. The BJP, as expected, is going to declare this as a big political victory as a result of their campaign against the Aam Aadmi Party, against Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain. Let me take this back across to Preeti Chaudhary. Apologies earlier, Preeti, for cutting you off. But Jain, as the BJP points out, has been behind bars for nearly 1 year. And the AAP never felt the need really to ensure that he resigns or steps down. Is this a hint, perhaps, Preeti, that Arvind Kejriwal sees this to be a long-drawn fight, that they believe Sisodia isn't going to be out of this anytime soon?
Well, of course, you know, the writing's on the wall. It's quite clear that Manish Sisodia has gone in for the long haul. But the reason, Akshita, also at somewhere down the line, the Aam Aadmi Party...
Okay, we're cutting across to more reactions. Apologies again, Preeti. Anurag Thakur speaking.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के मापदंड देखिए, इनको लगता है कि जो सबसे बड़ा घोटाला करे उसको सबसे बड़ा सम्मान दिया जाए, लेकिन उन्होंने शहीद भगत सिंह और बाकी सबको अपमानित करने का काम किया जब उनसे जोड़ने का काम किया। कभी शराब घोटाला, कभी स्वास्थ्य घोटाला, कभी जमीन घोटाला। पंजाब में इनकी सरकार बनी तो विजय सिंगला, इनके मंत्री को एंटी करप्शन ब्यूरो ने गिरफ्तार किया। इनके ऐसे ऐसे नेता हैं जो एक के बाद दूसरा, 11 लोग तो इनके जेल में ही हैं या अन्य आरोपों में हैं। भ्रष्टाचारियों की एक टीम अलग से बन गई।
So that's Anurag Thakur's reaction. Non-stop political updates coming in, and we're cutting live to each and every update. So you get the reactions that are coming in from the BJP, from the Aam Aadmi Party, cutting across political circles. Everyone now reacting to this big news that's coming in from the national capital. Manish Sisodia, Satyendra Jain, both have resigned. Preeti, apologies again for cutting you off, but go ahead.
Okay, so the reason here is, Akshita, that the Aam Aadmi Party would want to project very clearly, expect a press conference very soon, if not today, then tomorrow, by the Chief Minister of Delhi as well. The projection is we are not sacking these ministers. We have full faith in them. The reason we never ever, asked even Satyendra Jain to step down, but the reason why both ministers have been asked to step down together is primarily you couldn't have Manish Sisodia tender in his resignation because he held 18 portfolios, which included the additional charge of the portfolios of Satyendra Jain. So, the reason behind is make both of them resign. The resignation would be accepted. The Aam Aadmi Party will go to the public and say that, listen, it's governance first. We as a party are suffering. It's a witch hunt on us. But because we've taken a pledge of delivering governance to Delhi, we're going to put that forward. We're going to continue, with our model of Delhi model of governance. So that would be done. But behind the scenes, the big, issue is that they couldn't have functioned. There's no way. 18 portfolios of 33 could not just be distributed. Ultimately, the bureaucracy would want signatures on papers when projects, policies are being passed. Who would do that? Somebody now needed to step into their shoes. Who will that be? What we are given to understand, 2 new faces will be inducted into the cabinet. Possible that the portfolio of finance be retained by Arvind Kejriwal as well. Who are these 2 new faces? That would be interesting. Would an Atishi be given a chance to step up? There's also an understanding within the Aam Aadmi Party right now. There's an urgent need to create the next level leadership, constantly to feed in to the narrative of the Aam Aadmi Party. And with Manish holding 18 of the 33 gone, that understanding has only been driven home stronger.
This shake-up, these resignations were needed because, as you pointed out, Preeti, 18 of the 33 departments, and we're talking about some of the biggest portfolios, most important ones like finance, education, home, all of that was with Manish Sisodia. So Arvind Kejriwal had little choice really but to go ahead and take the step, and to ensure that there's no question of partiality, there's no question of some sort of distancing themselves from one leader not the other. Both Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia have resigned. A sense that you will get, the fact that this development has happened just 1 hour after what happened at the Supreme Court, and I'd like to bring Nalini Sharma in on this, is that perhaps they approached the Supreme Court, Nalini, as a last-ditch attempt to hope that there will be some relief that comes Manish Sisodia's way. When that didn't happen, with the Supreme Court saying very clearly, go to the High Court, it looks like Kejriwal had to go ahead and take this step.
You're right, Akshita, and in fact these resignations that are now coming in are also going to impact the legal strategy that is so far being adopted by Manish Sisodia to try and get some sort of relief. Yesterday when he was produced before the Rouse Avenue court, he had sought interim bail on health grounds, saying that his wife was not well and she was undergoing medical treatment, which is why he needed to be allowed out on interim bail. Today before the Supreme Court, we saw no mention of his wife or her health. Instead, we saw a different ground being taken by Abhishek Manu Singhvi, where he'd spoken about how the governance has been stalled because there are 18 portfolios under Manish Sisodia regarding the Delhi government, and the capital cannot be put to a halt just because the deputy CM has been arrested. So to ensure that that doesn't happen, now Manish Sisodia has put in his resignation, but this will also directly impact his legal strategy now before the Delhi High Court, because the Supreme Court's asked him to approach the Delhi High Court seeking bail. He cannot go to High Court now with the same demand, saying that he is the sitting deputy chief minister and that there are 18 portfolios under him, because that's not the case anymore. So as to what ground for bail he is going to take before the Delhi High Court is now going to be dependent on rather the merits of the case, apart from the fact that he holds the public office of the Delhi deputy chief minister. Now that seems to have been put on the back burner. At the forefront will be the CBI case against him, and as to whether or not the arrest was done in a legal manner. We might also see Manish Sisodia making the same plea that he made before the Rouse Avenue court, asking for bail to be granted to him because his wife is not well and is undergoing medical treatment. So that ground might again be mentioned before the Delhi High Court, but it all depends on how their petition is drafted and how soon they are able to approach the High Court with this petition seeking some sort of an interim relief.
Interesting insights that you've given us on how they'll tweak their legal strategy now going forward. The Aam Aadmi Party will argue that this was done because we wanted to ensure governance of the national capital, governance in Delhi doesn't suffer. Optics-wise, it's not really going AAP's way right now, Manish. There will be some who argue that this is signaling, this is messaging from the AAP that they're extremely concerned that Sisodia isn't going to come out anytime now, that the CBI does indeed have strong charges, strong evidence against him.
Absolutely, Akshita, and Kejriwal had no choice because this party came into existence after a movement against anti-corruption. Now, as far as Mr. Manish Sisodia is concerned, last 2 days have been very crucial. First of all, the day of questioning, and the second day when he was produced before the court. As Nalini was pointing out, remember in the court, a narrative was said that CBI indeed has some concrete evidence based on which the CBI court decided to send Manish Sisodia in 5 days custody. All the arguments made by Manish Sisodia's lawyer that he should not be sent into custody, he is cooperating with the investigation, those arguments were rejected by the court. Now this happened in the CBI court, but politically it set a narrative for the parties like Bharatiya Janata Party that Manish Sisodia indeed is a person who was involved in a corruption case. Now these are allegations at this point of time, but politically it is playing out in public that Aam Aadmi Party, whose one minister, Satyendra Jain, was already in Tihar jail, the other minister also has been arrested. Second and important part is, Satyendra Jain has been in jail for 7-8 months, but he never resigned, his resignation was never asked. Why in this case? Because remember, Akshita, even Aam Aadmi Party has realized that Manish Sisodia is going to jail not for few days, but for months. After CBI, the ED will take custody, which means that at least for a couple of months, Manish Sisodia will be in jail. For that, till the time he is in custody or jail, all the parties who are in opposition with Aam Aadmi Party, including Bharatiya Janata Party, they will be asking questions not only to Arvind Kejriwal, but also to Aam Aadmi Party that why are you not taking action against two corrupt ministers?
Ashutosh Mishra is joining us live on this broadcast. Ashutosh, is there a belief within the Aam Aadmi Party? Does Arvind Kejriwal believe that what happened with Satyendra Jain is now going to happen with Manish Sisodia, and preempting that, he's taken this decision that both will resign?
Well, it is not just apprehension just within the party. Everyone who understands the way of agency works and the way of there have been actions in recent times. So this is inevitable. After CBIs, there will be custody by the ED, and when ED takes custody, we know only it is the PMLA sections which makes the bail very difficult. So perhaps this was anticipation. And if you remember, Manish Sisodia in his almost farewell speech before appearing before CBI, he rather said, "It may take few months. I'll be in jail, appealing the students, do not skip your school, do not skip your study." So that was perhaps the message, and there was acknowledgement and there was assessment that it could take really a bit longer. Though there was some suggestions by the legal team of the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal, who suggested to approach Supreme Court. And as Nalini said, the similar ground they will seek, they will challenge the way of arresting by CBI in the higher court, but that's a legal process. But in the meanwhile, so there have been multiple challenges before the Aam Aadmi. Point number one, of course, Sisodia and Jain continue to be in jail, then the governance totally going to be collapsed. Particularly, you have a budget session, you have G20 meetings, and there are several projects which is on the verge of being completed. Secondly, the perception. Before the BJP could ask that, almost your 20-30% of your ministers being in jail, how you to be claim, the Imandar party, an honest party. Now, before that could possibly happen, this was decided, and then it is the Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain. Of course, it is the party decision that took place, but the resignation came from their side and it was immediately accepted by Arvind Kejriwal. They could go look before Manish Sisodia was arrested. He was denied bail, relief from Supreme Court. Immediately he resigned. Third, the parties, the political programs which are scheduled from 5th of March to 23rd of March, that is going to continue. So be it the governance issue, administrative work in the national capital, or the political functioning of the Aam Aadmi Party, nothing going to be halted. The message that they want to give, they are not on back foot, they are on front foot. And in fact, using the similar action by the agencies, they will go almost in every state that how the political opponents being targeted, particularly in the light of the way opposition camp has almost extended support to Manish Sisodia and have condemned the CBI's action. So there are multiple factors that playing at the moment, but what we are keeping eye that who to those faces will be, that will be inducted in the Delhi government's Arvind Kejriwal's cabinet. Tomorrow there is a crucial meeting at Arvind Kejriwal's residence. Even there are certain leaders which are meeting Arvind Kejriwal at the moment, but tomorrow there is an official meeting. There will be two faces that will be announced, and then they will be sworn in. Further, there will be allocation of work, and then Delhi government will write to the Lieutenant Governor calling for assembly session from 8th to 10th of March, where the budget for the fiscal year will be tabled. Akshita.
So the meeting is going to happen tomorrow. What we're hearing from both Ashutosh and Preeti is that in all likelihood there will be two new faces who are introduced, who are brought in as ministers, particularly because between Sisodia and Jain, they held some of the biggest and most important portfolios. And obviously to ensure even distribution, they will have to bring in two new faces. But what Preeti also told us is, as far as the all-important portfolio of finance is concerned, in all likelihood that will remain with Arvind Kejriwal. Up very clearly is now looking at this being a long fight for Manish Sisodia, for Satyendra Jain. There are many arguments, of course, coming in saying that if there was an issue of governance, why wasn't Satyendra Jain asked to resign in the first place? Why has it taken 8 months plus? The reality is that now between Sisodia and Satyendra Jain, when they hold so many important portfolios between the two of them, the AAP can't afford to not just defend them, but also let governance take ahead, which is why they said that we're not going to make one resign, both will resign. And that's why Satyendra Jain, after almost 8 months in prison, it'll be almost a year actually, he has been asked now to resign. He's resigned, his resignation has been accepted. Tomorrow we should have clarity on who the two new names are. There's a lot of speculation doing the rounds right now, a lot of names being thrown around of senior AAP leaders who could be brought in to the Delhi cabinet right now. But as far as legal recourse is concerned, there's no doubt that the Aam Aadmi Party isn't distancing themselves in any way from Sisodia or Satyendra Jain. This is a fight they're going to continue to fight on the streets of Delhi and across the nation. They've made that very, very clear. Politically, they back their two leaders very much. It was just a governance issue. And also legally, Nalini, they're going to continue to fight this out. The next step perhaps is going to be taking this up in the Delhi High Court.
Well, absolutely, Akshita, and I don't think they have much of a choice right now except for see through this battle and emerge at the other end. Eventually, it is going to end. Whether it's going to be sooner rather than later is all dependent now on the Delhi High Court and eventually the Supreme Court whenever the matter comes up. Because irrespective of however it goes in the High Court, whether Satyendra Jain gets bail, Manish Sisodia gets bail or does not get bail, either way it's going to end up in the top court because whichever side is not happy with the order is going to file an appeal before the Supreme Court. So it is going to ultimately end back here, and the Supreme Court is going to decide what needs to be done in this entire case. But at the same time, what needs to be remembered is that Manish Sisodia's troubles, this is just the beginning because right now he is only facing charges in the CBI case. Once the ED and if the ED steps in, like we discussed yesterday also during the time when the court hearings were going on, if the ED steps in, then it's going to be an uphill battle for Manish Sisodia because that's when the burden of proof is actually going to shift from the agency onto the accused himself. So in the ED case, it will be up to Manish Sisodia to prove that he is actually innocent in this case for something as simple as even to get out on bail, which is why we see several political leaders who've been arrested by the ED end up remaining behind bars, like Satyendra Jain, for example, end up remaining behind bars for much longer than those political leaders that are arrested in the CBI cases. Because the burden of proof in a CBI case or a case under prevention of corruption lies on the investigating agency, on the CBI, to make out a prima facie case against the accused so that the case can proceed further. But that's not the case under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So in case money laundering charges are brought in, that will just mean that it's more trouble for Manish Sisodia. But that seems to be something that he's prepared for. That's something that we've even seen in the kind of statements that Manish Sisodia had given before going to jail. He's in it for the long haul and he knows it, but he's prepared to fight the battle the entire way because he knows that at the end of the day, it seems to be nothing more than political vendetta. At least that's what Aam Aadmi Party's claim is. And Aam Aadmi Party is also putting its full weight and full support behind both Manish Sisodia as well as Satyendra Jain. But at the same time, the governance of the national capital cannot be halted perpetually till the time all of these political battles are going on the sidelines, and which is why they've decided, the higher echelons of the Aam Aadmi Party has decided that matters need to be taken into our own hands, and all of these 18 crucial portfolios that are held by Manish Sisodia currently need to be reassigned and redistributed to other ministers.
You know, every time that Arvind Kejriwal and the AAP, there's no doubt they're going to be saying this repeatedly now in the press conferences going forward. They're going to maintain that this was done to ensure governance doesn't take a hit. But every time they put forth their argument, the BJP is going to come up with the counter that Amit Malviya told me earlier as well, which is why didn't Satyendra Jain then resign the moment he was put behind bars? So the BJP will continue to maintain that this was because of political pressure. This is them distancing themselves from Manish Sisodia. So as far as the optics game is concerned, Arvind Kejriwal isn't winning this one. For the Aam Aadmi Party, as far as optics is concerned, it isn't looking good. The fact that Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain have been asked to resign. And that's where perhaps they will feel the political heat as well. But I want to also bring up the other issue that Nalini mentioned about, in fact, the money laundering charges against Manish Sisodia. Even as we speak, they will be, in fact, we're getting you the inside track of what's expected. Manish Sisodia's portfolios, 18 of them will be distributed, we're being told. So there's not going to just be one face who's brought in and given all of the portfolios. Arvind Kejriwal in a meeting tomorrow is going to discuss exactly how to distribute this. As we told you earlier, out of the 33 departments, 18 are with Manish Sisodia. So Arvind Kejriwal will have to strategize, even if he's bringing in 2 new faces, how to ensure that there's even distribution of some of these portfolios. He could keep finance, but the rest could, in fact, could be distributed among others. We're also, in fact, getting the big breaking news right now that there will be no new Delhi minister who will be appointed. Kailash Gehlot has been given some chunks of Sisodia's portfolio. Besides that, we're also hearing that several others are going to be brought in. Rajkumar Anand also given some portfolios. At this point, what we're hearing is that there will be no new faces inducted in the Delhi cabinet. So that's the big breaking news that's coming in. Initially, there was speculation that 2 new faces will be brought in. But what we're hearing right now, and our sources are confirming for us, that there will be no new minister in the Delhi cabinet. You will instead have, in fact, Kailash Gehlot as well as Rajkumar Anand taking care of these portfolios. Ashutosh, give us more details on that. 2 leaders who will, in fact, get the portfolios. It's going to be distributed among the current ministers in the Delhi cabinet.
say that this is optics by Arvind Kejriwal, the Aam Aadmi Party, and this is also a message to the cadre and the entire leadership that they are standing really firm with their leaders who are now in the judicial custody and one is in CBI custody. Of course, there is as I earlier mentioned, that there is one meeting at the moment happening at the Chief Minister's residence, and there is another tomorrow called up. Names are indeed being discussed, but this is really very surprising. And remember, Aam Aadmi Party, when it comes or the Arvind Kejriwal, he has always surprised when such kind of decisions come. Remember, when Satyendra Jain was jailed, it's been months now, but it's known that work was allocated to Manish Sisodia. There was not really much suffering when it comes to the governance. It was allocated to Manish Sisodia, and he was really doing well with those profiles. But now his deputy second in rank command, being in custody of the CBI.
His fallback, his right-hand man is now in custody. So perhaps that's why he's decided now to actually bite the bullet and get them to resign. Preeti Chaudhary is with us. Preeti, as per early speculation, it was being said that there could be new faces who are inducted into the Delhi cabinet. That's not the case. There are going to be no new faces. Among the current crop of ministers, we're hearing that all of these portfolios of Manish Sisodia, Satyendra Jain is going to be essentially distributed.
Look at it like that, Akshita. Earlier on, there was word, there was indication, and it seemed that Saurabh and Atishi were moving towards getting portfolios and cabinet ranks where the Delhi cabinet was concerned. But look at it like that, there is already a lot of, the older lot of the Aam Aadmi Party. This would have caused a lot more upheaval than the Aam Aadmi Party can actually absorb at this point of time, understanding with all that is going on outside. They didn't want any in-party acrimony. So I would think right now, the latest that is coming in from the Aam Aadmi Party is that no new minister will be inducted. I feel there has been a rethink because earlier on, every indication seemed to suggest that Atishi and Saurabh were being inducted enlisted as new cabinet ranks, but that's not going to happen. It's something that the Aam Aadmi Party, our sources within the Aam Aadmi Party have made very clear. The reason being is the fact, Akshita, that the minute that announcement was made, right now, the Aam Aadmi Party is facing the wrath of the Bharatiya Janata Party. They are facing a perceptional battle where their corruption, anti-corruption shield comes into question. They don't want any internal party dynamics to be destabilized. News such as this, that Atishi, even though Atishi and Saurabh are very visible on television channels, but when it comes to the rank and file of the Aam Aadmi Party, there are senior leaders, who've been waiting out in the wings, and they are the ones who are looking at maybe taking forth these, portfolios which now need to be distributed. So there seems to have been a rethink within the Aam Aadmi Party. Before inducting new faces, they've decided now, at least for the next 1 or 2 months, not to get any new face in. The portfolios will be distributed. Where Kailash Gehlot is concerned, Mr. Anand comes into question right now. He doesn't have any cabinet ministry, so he's going to be given cabinet portfolios as well. So in that context, Akshita, the Aam Aadmi Party seems to have had a rethink. They don't want internal party dynamics to be destabilized for them. They want at least the party as a unit to stay together. They don't want any rancor. Look at it like any organization. So if there are the old who are already hanging around hoping that their time will come, it's, the top boss picking up somebody lower than them and saying, okay, you will get a portfolio. And that could, cause a bit of rancor within the rank and file of the Aam Aadmi Party. The party can't afford that also right now.
Yeah, the last thing Kejriwal needs is really a power tussle within AAP to iron out all of these issues that he's been facing. But Preeti, any details about who will get the major chunk of portfolios? A big question mark on that, because there's no doubt that Kejriwal's biggest aide, his right-hand man, was Manish Sisodia. With Manish Sisodia now in CBI custody, who will get the major chunk of portfolios? Will it be Kejriwal himself who will retain them?
There is still word that Arvind Kejriwal might retain finance, but not little clarity on that where that is concerned. But I want to correct myself. Rajkumar Anand has the portfolio of social welfare. So it's a very small portfolio that he has, so he's going to be given more. But on the contrary, the biggest portfolios, I would think the likes of PWD, would all go to Kailash Gehlot. But mind you, Kailash Gehlot, the party also feels is next in line when it comes down to questioning of the agencies. You've seen that kind of narrative already been built by the Aam Aadmi Party, that next in line where the agencies are concerned is Kailash Gehlot.
They've run out of options then, if that's the case, Preeti, because to many, they would assume that if you look at how really the AAP leadership stands right now, Manish Sisodia gone, Satyendra Jain gone, you would think that Kailash Gehlot is the next big trusted aide for Kejriwal. And you're telling us that there's a suspicion within the AAP that he could be next. That means there's a leadership void in Aam Aadmi Party now.
Well, if you look at it, there are, in terms of just the cabinet, who did, Rajkumar Anand replace? Rajkumar Anand didn't have any cabinet rank or portfolio. But if you remember when Rajendra Pal Gautam in that whole controversy, where he, he presided over an event where certain individuals converted from Hinduism to Buddhism. And at the back of that, Mr. Gautam was asked, or rather, he stepped down and his resignation was accepted. That is the time when Rajkumar Anand stepped in and took over the Ministry of Social Welfare and Justice, where Delhi is concerned. So he has just one portfolio right now. But Kailash Gehlot is a man, who already has over 5 portfolios under his charge. He's someone that Arvind Kejriwal trusts. He's one of the core team members of the Aam Aadmi Party, where Arvind Kejriwal comes into question. He's a man who knows how the party works. He's been, behind a lot of management organization where Delhi elections are concerned. He is as per the party, best suited for the juicy portfolios or the heavy, workload shifting. So he's going to be taking in more of those portfolios. But having said that, trust the Aam Aadmi Party to continue to build that narrative कि हम सबको जेल में डाल दो, एक-एक करके हम सब जेल जाएंगे. So they will keep pushing that forth because they do feel next in line, over something or the other is the number of Kailash Gehlot, who might be called in for questioning. But as of now, will Arvind Kejriwal retain finance? There is word. We're going to try and get in a confirmation on that. But let's take a look. After how many months today did Arvind Kejriwal actually attend a government function? He did it today, when Manish Sisodia wasn't there. So he will also be taking an active role in Delhi governance. But he wants to settle, the house in terms of, the Aam Aadmi Party, in terms of these 18 portfolios very quickly, because he also wants to push forth the perception that the national plan of the Aam Aadmi Party remains intact. Mind you, over the course of the next 10 days, the Delhi Chief Minister is to be in Chhattisgarh, is to be in Rajasthan, is to be in Madhya Pradesh, scouting fresh land, fresh states to enter this year where elections come into play. Sources suggest that an internal survey of the Aam Aadmi Party already is pointing towards Chhattisgarh as possibly ripe ground for the Aam Aadmi Party to make inroads. So a lot going on that account, Akshita. But once again, I want to stress, earlier on there was indication 2 fresh faces, Atushi and Saurabh, will be stepping up to the job, but that's not going to happen because it's created a lot of rancor, a lot of heartburn in the other members of the Aam Aadmi Party. For now, the party wants none of that. They want to firefight what's happening outside. So status quo remains. Portfolios to be distributed between Rajkumar Anand, who holds only 1 portfolio, which was Mr. Gautam's earlier, of social welfare and justice. So he's going to get possibly, tourism, culture, language, and the juicier, big, heavy lifting kind of portfolios will go to Kailash Gehlot, at least for now.
But let's talk about that, Preeti, and I want to bring in Manish Pandey on this. Manish, Preeti is also telling us that within the Aam Aadmi Party, there is a fear that Kailash Gehlot could be next as well, which means after Satyendra Jain, after Manish Sisodia, Kailash Gehlot, who is facing heat from the agencies in the bus scam, could also face trouble next. What's the status on the investigation against him?
Yeah, well, Preeti, as far as Kailash Gehlot is concerned, there is no plan as far as CBI is concerned, or even for that matter, Enforcement Directorate is concerned. There are no summons, there is no plan to call him for questioning. But as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, remember in this excise policy, The last charge sheet by the Enforcement Directorate was very interesting. And in that charge sheet, they did mention the name of Kailash Gehlot because he was part of one of the meetings in the excise policy case. But the biggest name in that excise policy charge sheet by the Enforcement Directorate was the name of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi. His personal assistant was called in by the Enforcement Directorate. His statement was recorded, and there is a buzz that he may be called even by the Central Bureau of Investigation. As far as Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is concerned, remember, the ED in the charge sheet mentioned that there was one phone conversation between the accused Samir Mahendru and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi. And Samir Mahendru is a person who was arrested in the excise policy case. He was the second person to be arrested by the probe agencies. So the investigation by the agencies, as far as Aam Aadmi Party leaders are concerned, it is at a very crucial stage. Two ministers are arrested. Later, others will be arrested or not, that is yet to be seen. But as far as agency are concerned, they are saying that they are probing the case. If someone comes under scanner, we are going to probe it. If there is evidence, then they are going to arrest that person. Akshita.
So we'll have to see whether this is a good decision that's been taken by the Aam Aadmi Party, but clearly it's one that's been taken by Arvind Kejriwal, keeping in mind the current circumstances. And he has little choice. If you look at the kind of names that are left in the Aam Aadmi Party, if you look at how his biggest aides, his most trusted lieutenants, have all in fact now have faced some action or the other from agencies. Satyendra Jain, 8 months and counting behind bars. Till now, there's been no talk of him quitting or of him resigning. It's happened days after Manish Sisodia was arrested by the Central Bureau of Investigation. And that by itself tells you that Arvind Kejriwal had little to no choice but to go ahead and take this kind of a drastic step. The BJP, of course, is maintaining that this is no moral high ground that Arvind Kejriwal has suddenly stumbled upon, because they're saying that if it was an issue of governance, why didn't he go ahead and ask for Satyendra Jain to resign earlier? Because those portfolios were also important ones that Satyendra Jain held on to. Of course, it was also temporarily shifted over to Manish Sisodia. Some of them forced Sisodia to take care of, to take charge of. So at that point, Kejriwal still had Sisodia to rely on, to bank upon. That option also is out now, which is why Arvind Kejriwal has had to take this decision. Besides which, with 18 departments under Manish Sisodia, if Arvind Kejriwal had asked Manish Sisodia to resign and Satyendra Jain sits pretty with his portfolios behind bars for 8 months and counting, there will obviously be questions about why Sisodia has been asked to resign and not Satyendra Jain. To kind of ensure that that narrative doesn't build up, doesn't snowball, it looks like Arvind Kejriwal has taken this decision that both will resign. There was a lot of speculation that 2 new faces could be brought into the Delhi cabinet, but that's clearly been ruled out now. Within the current crop of ministers in the Delhi cabinet, in the Delhi government, you're going to be seeing all of these crucial portfolios of Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain being juggled around. And what Preeti is telling us is that finance, in all likelihood, will remain with Kejriwal, because in some days from now, the budget will also have to be presented. That was one of the reasons why Sisodia also had delayed his appearance before the CBI, saying, I'm busy working on the budget. But now that perhaps will fall on the shoulders of Arvind Kejriwal. This by no means translates to the Aam Aadmi Party actually distancing themselves in any way from Manish Sisodia or from Satyendra Jain. They're planning a nationwide campaign, and that plan sticks, where they're going to be raising this issue time and again. They're going to be saying that this is nothing but a political witch hunt. Now expect the Aam Aadmi Party to hold a press conference. We're hearing it could happen sometime this evening, when they're going to come out and explain why they took this decision. And the reason they're going to come out with a justification or a defense, whichever way you want to put it, is because of the fact that the BJP is spinning this as a big political victory for them. They're saying that this is Arvind Kejriwal admitting essentially to his ministers, to Sisodia and Satyendra Jain, being guilty, and that he's had no choice but to go ahead and take this kind of a step. Let's get you some of the reactions that have come in from the BJP also. Moments after the resignation of Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain, Arvind Kejriwal immediately accepted it. So it was clear that all of them were on board. But as I mentioned, the BJP is declaring this to be a political victory. Let's play out for you some of those reactions.
Mr. Manish Sisodia has resigned, and so has Mr. Satinder Jain. And to our great surprise, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has also accepted the resignation of Mr. Satinder Jain after 9 months. Come on. If Mr. Manish Sisodia had any moral compass left, being the disciple of Anna Hazare movement, he ought to have resigned on the day this scandalous allegations came to light. He ought to have told, first I will get exonerated, then I will come back. But his plea in the Supreme Court was, I am looking after 18 departments, therefore please give me bail. The keenness was there to run the department, not to explain the scandalous case of corruption. Therefore, again I would repeat, the whole conduct of Aam Aadmi Party is typified by 3C, cut, commission and corruption. आप तो बिल्कुल पारदर्शिता की प्रतिमूर्ति हैं, यही दावा आप करते हैं कि आप और अरविंद केजरीवाल हिंदुस्तान में एक नई पारदर्शिता को लेकर के आए हुए हैं. This question becomes very relevant, Mr. Sisodia, because whether you or whether your leader, Mr. Kejriwal, they keep on giving certificate of honesty. He is honest, he is dishonest. And you are only deleting. You have shamed Anna Hazare. आपने अन्ना हजारे के ईमानदार आंदोलन की विरासत को बदनाम किया है. और दिल्ली में सबको शराब पिला के क्या करना चाहते हैं आप? कहा था कि हम स्कूल खोलेंगे, आप शराब की दुकान खोल रहे हैं. और थोड़ा मेरा राजनीति का अनुभव है, ये पूरे भारत के देश में कहीं नहीं सुना है कि जो शिक्षा मंत्री है वही शराब मंत्री भी है. मुझे लगता था कि कट और कमीशन एक ही पार्टी की विरासत है, हाँ? लेकिन आज तो कहना पड़ेगा कि 3C केजरीवाल जी की पार्टी के लिए भी बोलना पड़ेगा, कट, कमीशन, करप्शन.
आखिरकार दिल्ली की जनता की ये बड़ी जीत हुई है. दोनों भ्रष्ट मंत्रियों को, मनीष सिसोदिया और सतिंदर जैन को कैबिनेट से हटना पड़ा है. और जो दबाव लगातार हम लोग डाल रहे थे कि भ्रष्टाचारी मंत्रियों को कैबिनेट से बाहर करो, मनीष सिसोदिया और सतिंदर जैन का इस्तीफा लो, और दिल्ली की जो सरकार ठप्प करके बैठे अरविंद केजरीवाल, जेल से जो सरकार चलाने का पाप किया जा रहा था उसको तुरंत बंद करना चाहिए. आज दो भ्रष्टाचारी मनीष सिसोदिया और सतिंदर जैन कैबिनेट से बाहर कर दिए गए हैं. ये दिल्ली की जनता की जीत है, दिल्ली की माताओं और बहनों की जीत है, और दिल्ली के साथ लूट करने वाले, धोखा करने वाले लोगों को कभी माफ नहीं किया जाएगा. उस न्याय की प्रक्रिया की शुरुआत है.
So we got you some reactions from the BJP, all of them claiming that this is a political victory, that Arvind Kejriwal has his back against the wall and hence had no other choice but to go ahead and ask both Manish Sisodia and Satinder Jain to resign. It's a wrap of this edition of 6 PM Prime, but stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Preeti Chaudhary is joining you in just a few moments from now on the inside track on what prompted the Aam Aadmi Party, what prompted Arvind Kejriwal to take this step.
All successful people worked hard, nothing comes easily.
Sometimes you need to just cross that mental barrier.
Once I come in,
काफी प्रोसेस ओरिएंटेड
stark difference.
मैं जब दोनों मेडल को ले रहा था और मैं बोल रहा था कि दो ही हमारे पास मेडल है इंडिया में और दोनों आज मेरे हाथ में हैं.
The very fact that you're opening the India Today conclave with a session on Olympic sport tells me that we've made progress.
So I
I think in general there is obviously much more digital advertising happening, and the platforms are becoming more active and influencers are becoming more active, because we do feel that this is going to shape advertising in the future in a very, very big way. So more than I would say, has it gone up or down, because the guidelines are very recent. I think what we can say is that just at an anecdotal basis, we are seeing a lot more influencers who are compliant. We are seeing the hashtags being used. We are seeing the paid partnership tags being used. So I think that's a great step. And we are definitely seeing more platforms also bringing in disclosure labels, so that there is a native way to kind of disclose your material connection. So I think, influencers are taking this whole thing, I feel, in a really good way, in a very positive way, and using disclosure, not with any kind of pressure, but I think as a voluntary choice that they are making. And I think that is really, really great news.
Absolutely. Like you said, there's been a rise in digital ads. Digital influencing marketing is the newest thing on the block. Where do you think this will go? Will it take over the revenue, the ad spends that we saw for TV ads? Will digital advertising be the biggest advertising field in ad?
If you see the growth that it has, I mean, it's already kind of inching towards television growth. So television still remains the largest, but digital is now a close second. And the rate of growth of digital is definitely higher. So I think, I think all media will continue to grow. So it's not as if, that you will actually see a decline in any particular medium. But yes, I think just in terms of percentage split, I feel that digital is likely to take over television in the next few years.
Leo. Thalapathy Vijay is one of the most celebrated actors of Tamil cinema, and every time he returns on the big screen, it's no less than a carnival. Leo will also feature Sanjay Dutt, who is all set to make his Tamil debut. Trisha will also be playing a crucial role in the film. And with this, the actress and Thalapathy Vijay will collaborate after 14 years.
அதான் பார்த்தனே சார் பயங்கர ரொமான்டிக் மூட்ல இருந்தீங்க.
சாரி அஞ்சலி.
எதுக்கு?
இல்ல நேத்து நீ வீட்டுக்கு வந்திருந்தப்போ நான் மாதிரி பேசிர கூடாதுல.
சச்சா அந்த இடத்துல நான் இருந்திருந்தாலும் அப்படிதான் பேசிருப்பேன்.
Leo will also mark yet another collaboration between Thalapathy Vijay and filmmaker Lokesh Kanagaraj. Their first being Master. The action thriller will release in October. Mega star Kamal Haasan will also treat fans with his next offering, Indian 2. Directed by Shankar, the film is a sequel to the much celebrated film of the same name. Cine lovers are waiting with bated breaths to witness Kamal Haasan in the khaki costume, essaying the role of vigilante Senapati. Surya 42. Next in line is Surya with his tentatively titled film Surya 42. Directed by Sisodia Siva, touted as historical fantasy drama, the film will also star Disha Patni in lead role. As per reports, Surya 42 has a 1,000-year-old backstory with some solid action. The superstar was last seen in Edarkum Tunindavan in a full-fledged role. Directed by Pandiraj, the action drama received mixed response at the box office. He also appeared in cameo role in Vikram and Rocketry, The Nambi Effect.
பொண்ணுங்கனாலே பலவீனமான நினைச்சிட்டு இருக்காங்க. இல்ல பலம் நாக்கணும்.
are watching India Today.
Good evening. You're watching India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. The big news break that's come in just about 1 hour ago. Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain have resigned as Arvind Kejriwal has accepted their resignation. What next for the Aam Aadmi Party? Preeti Chaudhary will be joining us on this broadcast to get you the inside track of what the AAP has to say. The headlines first. Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain's resignation jolts Delhi government. Kailash Gehlot and Rajkumar Anand to take over Sisodia's work. BJP calls it an admission of guilt by Kejriwal. No Supreme Court relief for Sisodia in plea against CBI. Top court tells him to approach the High Court. Deputy Chief Minister grilled over 100 crores alleged kickback via aid. Vijay Nair. Sisodia South cartel link unravels. CBI claims cartel met Sisodia aid in Delhi hotel. Amit Shah chairs meet with Telangana BJP leaders. UP cops probe gangster turned Neta Atiq Ahmed after conspirator Sadakat was spotted with Akhilesh in a picture. SP distances says he was a BJP worker. Galwan hero's father abused, thrashed and jailed over his son's memorial in Bihar. Cops claim memorial was built on encroached land. India avenges murder of Kashmiri Pandit Sanjay, neutralizes terrorist who killed Kashmiri Pandit. Another terrorist also killed. And India's growth in third quarter slows down to 4.4% amid high inflation and low consumer demand. Government had earlier estimated GDP growth for the year would be at 7%. And the big Delhi news break that came in an hour ago. Two topmost Delhi ministers have resigned, Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain. Manish Sisodia and Jain submitted their resignations, and almost immediately Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal accepted their resignations as well. This comes after there was no relief for Sisodia from the Supreme Court. Just a few hours ago, the top court told Sisodia to approach the Delhi High Court if he wanted any relief, if he wanted to challenge his arrest by the CBI in the Delhi liquor policy case. And it looks like with that development from the Supreme Court, the Aam Aadmi Party has realized that this is going to be a long legal fight ahead of them, and that's why they have taken this step. Remember, the Manish Sisodia single-handedly managed 18 out of the 33 departments in the Delhi government. So this by far was the biggest blow to Arvind Kejriwal's party. What we're hearing is that Kailash Gehlot and Rajkumar Anand will now be holding the fort as far as Sisodia's portfolios are concerned. Satyendra Jain had 11 departments before he was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. Remember, he's behind bars in Tihar jail. All eyes are on what happens next to Delhi's governance. AAP has two grave challenges before it. One, to run a government with just 5 ministers, and second, to go ahead and protect its Qatar Imandar image, its corruption-free image, because now you have two topmost ministers, ex-ministers at least, who are in custody.
Mr. Manish Sisodia has resigned, and so has Mr. Satyendra Jain. And to our great surprise, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has also accepted the resignation of Mr. Satyendra Jain after 9 months. Come on. If Mr. Manish Sisodia had any moral compass left, being the disciple of Anna Hazare movement, he ought to have resigned on the day this scandalous allegations came to light. He ought to have told, first I will get exonerated, then I will come back. But his plea in the Supreme Court was, I am looking after 18 departments, therefore please give me bail. The keenness was there to run the department, not to explain the scandalous case of corruption. Therefore, again, I would repeat, the whole conduct of Aam Aadmi Party is typified by 3C: cut, commission and corruption.
आखिरकार दिल्ली
We're getting you the resignation letter of Manish Sisodia, a 3-page letter that Sisodia has shot off to, in fact, the Delhi Chief Minister, confirming that he is resigning. In this 3-page letter, Manish Sisodia, we'll read out for you exactly what he said. He speaks about all the work that he has done for the people of Delhi for the last 8 years, speaks in great detail about how, in fact, he's worked as hard as he could for the last 8 years, and then goes on to say that no one in the world can call me corrupt. There are attempts to go ahead and book me in one case or the other in the last few months, and keeping that in mind, I have decided to resign. He's also gone ahead and spoken about how, in fact, the Delhi government has taken several steps to go ahead and ensure good initiatives. He thanks everyone for all the cooperation he received, but he says that in the face of non-stop allegations against me, all of which are false, after non-stop FIRs being filed against me, I have no choice but to resign. He's also gone ahead and said that the BJP fears Kejriwal's honest politics. So this entire 3-page resignation letter, if you look at it, is full of political salvos at the BJP. He's also in that letter reiterated again that all allegations against him in the Delhi liquor policy are false. He says no one in the world can call me corrupt. And he's also gone on to say that there's non-stop attempts to scare me, to threaten me. There are attempts to target me non-stop, and they've now gone ahead and arrested me and put me in jail as well. Now, in fact, you can see in several parts of this particular letter, he goes on to talk about the allegations against him, saying all of this is false, calling it nothing but political, saying this is a political witch hunt against me. That resignation letter on your screens, it's a full 3-page resignation letter that, in fact, Arvind Kejriwal has shot, or that Manish Sisodia, I beg your pardon, has shot off to Arvind Kejriwal. Preeti Chaudhary is joining us with more details on this. A loaded resignation letter, Preeti, 3 pages full of political salvos, reiterating, I'm innocent, this is an attempt to target Arvind Kejriwal.
Well, you know, as expected, Akshita, we're going to just take that letter out. He's actually addressing it more to the people of Delhi as well. We've exclusively accessed this letter. Let's take you through it, where he says, Delhi ke लोग अच्छी तरह जानते हैं कि पिछले 8 वर्ष के दौरान एक मंत्री के रूप में मैंने अपना कार्य पूरी निष्ठा और ईमानदारी के साथ किया. I'm going to take you right now where that letter is. We've accessed this letter. Understandably, there is a synchronization of these resignations. They've come from both Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia, where it's a 3-page letter. It's been accepted by Arvind Kejriwal, where he's addressed it, of course, to Arvind Kejriwal, and he says, मैं इसे अपना बहुत बड़ा सौभाग्य समझता हूँ कि मुझे आपके नेतृत्व में लगातार 8 वर्ष तक दिल्ली सरकार में मंत्री के रूप में कार्य करने का अवसर मिला. मुझे खुशी है कि पिछले 8 साल में दिल्ली वालों की जिंदगी में खुशहाली और समृद्धि लाने को जो काम आपके नेतृत्व में हुआ, एक मंत्री के नाते मुझे भी उसमें थोड़ा बहुत भूमिका निभाने का अवसर मिला है. So he's primarily also giving the credit to Arvind Kejriwal of what he's been able to do as an education minister. Then he goes on to talk directly to the people of Delhi, where he's saying that the people of Delhi know exactly what he has done for them. He's also invoked his father, where he says, मेरे स्वर्गीय पिता ने मुझे अपना काम हमेशा ईमानदारी और निष्ठा के साथ पूर्ण करने की शिक्षा दी थी. He's invoked his father. He's talked. It's an emotional letter because he's talking about his own journey, where he says, जब मैं 6वीं क्लास में पढ़ता था तो मेरे पिता ने मुझे भगवान कृष्ण की एक बहुत ही सुंदर सी तस्वीर फ्रेम कराकर मेरे बिस्तर के सामने लगाई थी. It's his own personal journey. He's invoking God. He's also talked about how that kattar imandar, which the Aam Aadmi Party stresses on, where he says अपने काम को ईमानदारी और निष्ठा से पूर्ण करने करना ही सच्ची कृष्ण पूजा है. He's talked all about that. And he signed off saying, यहाँ तक कि आज अगर मैं खुद भी चाहूँ तो भी ना तो किसी काम में बेईमानी कर सकता हूँ और ना ही किसी काम से जी चुरा सकता हूँ. He's talked about his parents quite a bit in this. It's an emotional letter that is written by Manish Sisodia. I'm going to just go up a little 3-page letter. Where
if you can focus, I think, on the second page, the second paragraph is where he talks about the allegations against him.
Yes.
Could you highlight that for us,
so
please?
There you have it. That's the second page where he's saying, मेरे ऊपर कई FIR की गई और अभी कई और करने की तैयारी है. Where he's saying that he's been targeted with various FIRs. He even thinks that what he calls a witch hunt will continue. He also says उन्होंने बहुत कोशिश की कि मैं आपका साथ छोड़ दूं. मुझे डराया धमकाया लालच दिया गया. Where he's talked about how he was coerced many times, where he was given incentives. Mind you, if you remember, during Gujarat, Manish Sisodia, when he was raided the first time around, had come out and said that he was actually offered the Delhi chief ministership if he actually testifies against Arvind Kejriwal. If you remember all the time, all the way when the Gujarat elections were carrying on, that was the initial time of raids on Manish Sisodia, and he had said that he had got a call from somebody very, very high up. He said he had the audio recording of that person, but that was never made public. Then in the end, eventually he says, मैंने दिल्ली सरकार के विभिन्न विभागों में ईमानदारी से काम किया है. And he signs it off saying, लेकिन अब जबकि उन्होंने झूठे और बेबुनियाद आरोपों की साजिश तहत मुझे रहते हुए तमाम सीमाएं पार कर ली, मुझे जेल में डाल दिया है, तो मेरी इच्छा है कि अब मैं मंत्री पद पे ना रहूं. Again, he's giving credit to Arvind Kejriwal. मैं जानता हूं कि साजिश करता मुझे और आपको परेशान करने के लिए मुझे जेल में डाल रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं समझता हूं कि उनकी इन साजिशों से सच्चाई की राजनीति की हमारी लड़ाई और मजबूत होगी. वह हमें और हमारे साथियों को जेल में बंद कर सकते हैं, लेकिन हमारे हौसले को आसमान की ऊंचाइयों को छूने से नहीं रोक सकते. मुझे लगता है मेरे जेल जाने से हमारे साथियों का, हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं का मनोबल और बढ़ेगा. वह उनका अंदर देश के लिए कुछ करने का जज्बा और जोर पकड़ेगा. Then he's of course quoted Bhagat Singh. He invokes Bhagat Singh a lot. Bismil, he's quoted Bismil where he's saying सरफरोश की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है, देखना है जोर कितना बाजुए कातिल में है. अंत में मैं दिल्ली सरकार के उन तमाम अधिकारियों और सभी कर्मचारियों का धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं. He's thanked his departments. He had 18 of them, viewers, जिन्होंने मेरे मंत्री पद पर रहते हुए विगत 8 वर्षों में मेरे साथ काम किया और जिनके सहयोग से मैं मुझे दी गई जिम्मेदारियों को ठीक से निभा सका. आपसे पूर्ण मेरा विनम्र अनुरोध है कि दिल्ली सरकार के मंत्रिमंडल से मेरा इस्तीफा स्वीकार कर मुझे इस पद से मुक्त करने की कृपा करें. So that is Manish Sisodia, a 3-page letter, emotional. It begins with where he's invoking his parents. He's talked about Lord Krishna. Then he talks about how entirely he was pressurized, coerced many times over through the course of his tenure of 8 years to actually leave Arvind Kejriwal. That all of this is actually, in a way to target Arvind Kejriwal, and the fact that he never left Arvind Kejriwal's side is the reason he finds himself in jail today. He also says that maybe, his arrest will prove to be a trigger and a rigor of sorts where the Aam Aadmi Party cadre is concerned. His resignation, viewers, has been accepted right now by Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi Chief Minister. But, I'll just take you through on what the procedure is. The resignation goes to the Delhi Chief Minister. He's accepted it, but it's not as simple. It's about a month and a half long process from here on. This resignation, the Chief Minister will send to the LG. Once the LG approves the resignation, the LG has to send the same resignation to the President of India. And that resignation, once approved, takes the whole process, takes about a month and a half. So it's going to continue for a month and a half. Now, Akshita, I want to take you through on what's going on in the internal dynamics of the Aam Aadmi Party. Why is it that the Aam Aadmi Party today decided that Arvind Kejriwal decided that a resignation is in order. It's not just happened that both Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain woke up at the same time and decided to tender in their resignation. There was an indication, there was word which was sent to the both of them through their lawyers that maybe that's the way to go. And that's how the party in particular, Arvind Kejriwal in particular, will put pressure on the narrative, and the narrative would be strengthened that this is a witch hunt, and they are not going to allow this witch hunt to come in the way of the Delhi model of governance. Therefore, their portfolios will be redistributed amongst other cabinet bearers. In this case, two particular cabinet ministers will now get additional charge. One is Kailash Gehlot. In all probability, he will get the juiciest in terms of PWD, finance. One thing is very clear right now. Arvind Kejriwal, our sources tell us, will not hold any portfolios. He's never held a portfolio. Earlier on, indication was that he might keep finance. He's not keeping finance. No portfolio will go to Arvind Kejriwal. Earlier on, there was also indication that perception-wise, to strengthen the party, there will be an elevation of fresh blood, namely Atishi and Saurabh Bhardwaj. But that's not going to happen. Why, viewers? Because the party can only fight in one front, which is the outside. They feel they are being targeted by the BJP. They say it's a witch hunt where the agencies are concerned. So they need to, it has to be all in when it comes down to the battle outside. So if they were going to elevate Atishi or Saurabh, which might be on air a lot perception-wise, it doesn't quite, it works for the Aam Aadmi Party, but where the rank and the file of the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, it doesn't quite work, and it could create friction and rancor, primarily because who's this other cabinet minister, who has actually stepped in terms of getting more of these ministries, Mr. Anand, who is Rajkumar Anand. Rajkumar Anand has been associated with the Aam Aadmi Party not just since the inception of the party, but all the way back, viewers, since the movement of India against corruption. He's been standing by Arvind Kejriwal. He and his wife both have been, behind Arvind Kejriwal. So, and he's not the only such man. He might not be in front of the cameras. So there are a lot of these other older, more experienced, they'd call themselves, lot, who are hoping now that these portfolios will come to them. And if you elevate somebody as junior as Atishi and Saurabh, they might be prominent in terms of television and spokespersons, but what about those who've been waiting in the wings for so long? Those who have been with the party for years, even before Atishi and Saurabh stepped in. So to understand that this could create friction, which is to elevate the lower rung or the junior leaders, up front, the party has decided, even though the earlier on indications were it would go to Atishi and Saurabh, to not go there and continue to redistribute these portfolios. So Kailash Gehlot gets, as I pointed out, some of the plum cabinet minister portfolios, and Rajkumar Anand will get, some others. Rajkumar Anand was the same man who, after Mr. Gautam had stepped down from Arvind Kejriwal's cabinet, was given the social welfare ministry portfolio. So these two will now take over most of the portfolios. But what is it that led to today? There was actually an internal party meeting where they were discussing on what is to, what would be the future course of action for the Aam Aadmi Party. I'm given to understand Arvind Kejriwal and some of the top leadership left that meeting midway. So something clearly did trigger a reaction such as this.
Preeti, as you get us all of the, political takeaways from this big step, I want to bring in Manish Pandey also quickly on this. The perception, at least, of Arvind Kejriwal making this big decision is that the AAP is preparing for now a long fight for Manish Sisodia. A similar narrative as to what happened with Satyendra Jain could perhaps happen in Manish Sisodia, or at least it seems the AAP believes that, Manish.
Yeah, well, Lakshita, in Satyendra Jain case also, we saw that there was a legal fight which was, done by the Aam Aadmi Party. But in Satyendra Jain case also, we saw that lower court rejected the bail. And then there were certain CCTV footages leaked to the media by the Bharatiya Janata Party. On those CCTV footage, it was seen that Satyendra Jain, who was minister in Aam Aadmi Party, that person was getting VIP treatment in Tihar jail. He was getting massage. So for it has been almost 7-8 months he has not come out of jail. His resignation came today, but he is in jail from last 7-8 months. Of course, questions were being asked by many political leaders, including the Bharatiya Janata Party, that why he is not resigning or why Arvind Kejriwal is not taking action against his own minister. Now, as far as Manish Sisodia is concerned, last 2 days have been very crucial. Manish Sisodia was questioned, later he was arrested, but yesterday what happened changed the entire course of action, even for the Aam Aadmi Party. In the court, the Central Bureau of Investigation was able to convince the court that the grounds on the basis of which they have arrested Mr. Manish Sisodia are valid. Also, there are corruption charges, plus the way he conducted himself as an excise minister. So it was a win-win situation not only for Central Bureau of Investigation, but also for the Bharatiya Janata Party. The last-ditch effort was approaching the Supreme Court, but there was no relief. And Akshita, Aam Aadmi Party is aware of the fact that once the custody of CBI is over, and if there is any chance of Manish Sisodia getting bail in the CBI case, then the ED will step in. And once the ED steps in, it will again be 14 days of custody at least, and then later judicial custody, which means that for
they're far too familiar. They're far too familiar with how really the agencies work in these kind of cases to know, as Manish is pointing out, that this is going to be a long haul. Preeti Chaudhary will be joining you on the other side of a very short break with all the big political updates that are coming in, and optics-wise, whether Kejriwal has really ensured that it's painted the way he wants it to be, that this is a step being taken to ensure that Delhi's governance isn't compromised, or whether in fact, the optics is all about Kejriwal giving in to the BJP's narrative. On the other side of a short break, she debates that and much more.
You are watching India Today.
जैसे सबसे तेज आपकी टैगलाइन है, तो इसी तरह से सबसे तेज हमारी सरकार की लाइफलाइन है.
Leader must have a vision.
We will continue to work with the developing and the developed world for win-win solutions.
Nature had, of course, willed the survival of the fittest.
हम आतंकवाद के खिलाफ जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी को अपनाए हुए हैं.
1 साल के अंदर राहुल कन्वर की कार जो होगी वो इलेक्ट्रिक की होगी.
There is a confrontation of competing visions.
The awards season is in full swing in Hollywood, and the Screen Actors Guild Awards that took place in LA. Everything Everywhere All at Once won 4 awards, including the Marquee Ensemble in a Motion Picture. Lead star Michelle Yeoh won the SAG for Best Female Actor in a Leading Role.
This is not just for me, this is for every little girl that looks like me. Thank you for giving me a seat at the table, because so many of us need this. We want to be seen, we want to be heard.
While Jamie Lee Curtis and Kei Hugh Kwan took home supporting actor honors.
Thank you so much.
Michelle Yeoh and Kei Hugh Kwan became the first Asian performers to be honored in their categories.
Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us? I am paying attention.
Everything Everywhere tells the story of a Chinese-American laundromat owner struggling to finish her taxes when she swept into alternate universes.
I can see where this story is going. It does not look good.
The film is now a front-runner ahead of the Oscars ceremony next month.
What's happening? Evelyn, I'm not your husband. I'm another version of him from another universe. I'm here because we need your help. Very busy today. Hold tight to help you. across the multiverse. I've seen thousands of Evelyns. You can access all of their memories, their emotions, even their skills. There's a great evil spreading throughout the many verses. And you may be your only chance of stopping it.
Don't make me fight you. I am really good.
I don't believe you.
Meanwhile, Brendan Fraser earned the Best Actor honor for The Whale.
I just want you to know for real, all the actors out there who have gone through that, who are going through that, I know how you feel. But believe me, if you just stay in there and you put one foot in front of the other, you'll get to where you need to go.
RRR is unstoppable as the film is bringing glory to the country with one accolade after another.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. I can't express in words how much it means.
Recently, this S.S. Rajamouli directorial bagged 4 awards at the Hollywood Critics Association Film Awards, including Best International Film, Best Action Film, Best Stunts, and Best Song categories. Several images from the evening have gone viral on the internet. S.S. Rajamouli, who was also present during the event, took to social media to share a picture with child actress Violet McGraw. He captioned the post as, "I was happy when the incredibly talented 11-year-old Violet McGraw presented me with the award on stage, and even happier when she obliged me for a selfie afterwards." That's not all. Lead actor Ram Charan was also one of the presenters during the award ceremony. During the same, Miss Marvel fame Anjali was all praises about her co-presenter. After yet another big win, the team of this period drama is eyeing an Oscar win, as Natu Natu, the Golden Globe-winning foot-tapping dance number, has already made its place in the nomination list. Natu Natu has created a flutter over the world, and now a video of staff from South Korean embassy in India grooving to the tunes of M.M. Keeravani's composition has gone viral. RRR, which also features Junior NTR as the other lead, was based on lives of 2 Telugu freedom fighters, Alluri Sitarama Raju and Komaram Bhim.
ఈ నక్కల వేట ఎంతసేపు కుంభస్థలాన్ని బద్దలు కొడదాం పదా
it's a wrap for Ravi Teja starrer Ravanasura. The makers took to social media to announce the same along with its release date, which is April 7. Directed by Sudhir Verma, Ravanasura is an action thriller and will feature Anu Emmanuel, Megha Akash and Faria Abdullah among others. The film marks Ravi Teja's first release after Valtair Viraya, which featured Chiranjeevi in the lead role.
కథలోకి మీరందరూ వచ్చారు వీడు నా ఎరా నువ్వే నా సరా వైజాగ్లో గట్టి ఏటగాడు లేడని ఒక పులి పూనకాలతో ఊగుతుందట
Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. Over the next 25 minutes, we're going to break down what the resignations of two leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party, Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia, mean for the Aam Aadmi Party. What really went down behind closed doors where the Aam Aadmi Party was concerned, that resignation of both the ministers was asked for. Is it that they couldn't really keep up with the anti-corruption image and they needed to make this decision quickly? Number two, is it how will Delhi actually work? 18 of the 33 portfolios lie with Manish Sisodia. And number two, is the Aam Aadmi now planning to build a narrative to go to the people of Delhi saying that, okay, our personal witch hunt aside, we will deliver on what we promised, which was Delhi model of governance, and we are going to bring in new people, we are not going to let you suffer. Well, that's what seems to be the Aam Aadmi Party's narrative. And of course, the BJP in all of it, who's saying it should have happened not now, but nearly 10 months ago when Satyendra Jain was first arrested. All of that over the course of 25 minutes. I have Rajdeep Sardesai who's going to break it down for us as well. And our Aam Aadmi Party reporter Sanjay Singh would also be joining us shortly. But taking you through, two top Delhi ministers resigned. The jailed Aam Aadmi Party leader Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain both tendered in their resignation. Manish Sisodia sent his resignation in a 3-page letter, highly emotional, where he invoked from his father, his mother, to allegiance to Arvind Kejriwal, Lord Krishna, and ultimately sacrificing his post at the altar of what is best for the citizen of the national capital. Trust Aam Aadmi Party to take and build that narrative further. Meanwhile, the Delhi Chief Minister has accepted their resignation. This comes clearly after there was no relief given to Manish Sisodia in the Supreme Court. The top court said that the Delhi Deputy CM needed to go to the High Court if he wants to challenge his arrest by the CBI in the Delhi liquor policy case. But viewers, one thing is very clear, that resignations of both the ministers might have happened and Arvind Kejriwal might have accepted it. However, it's going to be a long drawn process because the resignation will first have to be sent to the LG. The LG will approve, then the resignation goes to the President of India. This whole process takes about a month and a half. So who steps in to the shoes of both the leaders? Earlier on, indications suggested that the likes of Atishi and Saurabh were going to be elevated. Not quite. The party has decided, with rumbles within the party of this elevation, that they can only firefight outside the attack of the BJP attack of what they call vendetta by the agencies. Let's listen in to Saurabh Bhardwaj.
आदरणीय और सीनियर मिनिस्टर्स, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की केंद्र सरकार के षड्यंत्रों के कारण आज जेल के अंदर हैं। उन्होंने अपने अपने मंत्री पद से इस्तीफा दिया है और ये पूरे हिंदुस्तान के लिए बहुत दुर्भाग्य की बात है कि वो दो मंत्री जो अपने काम के लिए जाने जाते थे और सिर्फ दिल्ली में नहीं, पूरे हिंदुस्तान में नहीं, पूरी दुनिया में अपने काम के लिए जाने जाने वाले मंत्री श्री सत्येंद्र जैन, श्री मनीष सिसोदिया जी, इन दोनों के पीछे पड़ के केंद्र सरकार ने इन्हें झूठे, फर्जी, नकली मुकदमों में फंसाया है और ये संदेश पूरी दुनिया में जा रहा है आज कि सबसे ज्यादा काम करने वाले मंत्रियों के पीछे देश की केंद्र सरकार पड़ी हुई है। ये कोई अच्छे संकेत नहीं है। ये के झूठे हैं, फर्जी हैं। हमारे दोनों मंत्री पूरी ईमानदारी से अपना पूरा जीवन जो है समर्पण कर रहे हैं इस समाज के लिए, दिल्ली के लिए, अपने देश के लिए। और आज उनका इस्तीफा मुख्यमंत्री जी को मिला है। उन दोनों ने अपना अपना इस्तीफा मुख्यमंत्री जी को दिया है क्योंकि दिल्ली में छोटी कैबिनेट है। मुख्यमंत्री जी और उनके साथ 6 मंत्री मंत्री परिषद में होते हैं और सत्येंद्र जैन जी और मनीष सिसोदिया जी के पास सब लोग जानते हैं ज्यादातर जो अहम मंत्रालय थे, पोर्टफोलियोज थे, डिपार्टमेंट्स थे, वो इन दो हमारे सीनियर मिनिस्टर्स के पास थे। तो इनकी एब्सेंस में दिल्ली वालों का काम जो है वो प्रभावित ना हो, दिल्ली का काम ना रुके, दिल्ली वालों को कोई परेशानी ना हो, इसलिए इन्होंने इस्तीफे दिए हैं। इनकी जगह 2 नए मंत्री जल्द बनाए जाएंगे, मगर पूरी की पूरी आम आदमी पार्टी और पूरी की पूरी दिल्ली सरकार आम आदमी पार्टी का हर विधायक, हर पार्षद, एक एक कार्यकर्ता मनीष सिसोदिया जी और सत्येंद्र जैन साहब के साथ उनके पीछे खड़ा हुआ है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
सौरभ, आपने कहा 2 नए मंत्री जल्द बनाए जाएंगे या फिर जो बाकी मंत्री हैं उनको जिम्मेदारी सौंपी जाएगी, ये आप कहना चाह रहे हैं?
मैंने कहा 2 लोग नए मंत्री बनाए जाएंगे।
मतलब 2 नए चेहरे होंगे कैबिनेट में?
जी।
अच्छा, क्योंकि अभी तक ये जानकारी आ रही थी कि जो राजकुमार आनंद है कब तक होगा, मतलब नया अपॉइंटमेंट का प्रोसेस होंगे या होगा? तो ये कब तक आप मान के चल रहे हैं कि 2 नए चेहरे मिलेगा? आप ही कह रहे हैं
इसकी कोई टाइमलाइन नहीं है हमारे पास, ये जानकारी है।
अच्छा,
सर, क्या डेप्यूटी चीफ मिनिस्टर को लेकर भी कुछ है कि उनके लिए भी कोई चेहरा पे डिस्कशन है?
देखिए, मेरे को इसकी कोई जानकारी नहीं है।
सौरभ, साथ ही सवाल ये है कि सत्येंद्र जैन तो अभी तक मंत्रियों की लिस्ट में थे, हालांकि उनके पास कोई पोर्टफोलियो नहीं था, वेबसाइट में भी जाएंगे उनका नाम था वहां पर, तो अब ऐसा क्या हुआ कि इस्तीफा अचानक से आपने ले लिया? ये सवाल उठ रहा है कि वजह क्या रही?
देखिए, ये एक बड़ी ही प्रैक्टिकल सिचुएशन है। सत्येंद्र जैन साहब जब नहीं थे हमारे बीच में तो उनके जो मंत्रालय थे वो मनीष सिसोदिया जी को दिए गए थे और मनीष सिसोदिया जी के पास लगभग सभी बड़े बड़े मंत्रालय थे और वो बड़ी मेहनत से उन सभी मंत्रालयों के साथ जो है कोशिश करते थे कि काम हो। करीब 18 मंत्रालय उनके पास थे, एजुकेशन हो, हेल्थ हो, इंडस्ट्रीज हो, वाटर हो, लेबर हो, एक्साइज हो, होम हो, यूडी हो, सभी तरीके के मंत्रालय थे। अब क्योंकि मनीष जी को भी झूठे षड्यंत्रों में जेल में भेजा गया है, अब प्रैक्टिकली दिल्ली के काम ना रुके, इसको सोचते हुए उन दोनों ने अपना इस्तीफा टेंडर किया है।
All right, viewers, you're going to have press conferences after press conferences, but what's the biggest takeaway out of it? Manish Sisodia and Mr. Jain, Satyendra Jain, have tendered in their resignation. There will be 2 new ministers, but not now. At least for a month to 2 months, or even a little more than that, there will be no new inductions. Their portfolios will be redistributed amongst Kailash Gehlot and Rajkumar Anand. Rajkumar Anand has been with Arvind Kejriwal even before 2012, right through the India Against Corruption movement. So he actually got what Mr. Gautam's portfolio was when he stepped down, which is social welfare and justice. I want to bring in Rajdeep Sardesai, consulting editor, for more on that, and we'll cut across to Sanjay Singh in just about 2 minutes from now. Rajdeep, how do you view these developments? The party right now going ahead accepting the resignations of both these leaders. What does it mean politically? Because it seems they're going to build that narrative to the public that we're not going to let a personal witch hunt come in the way of delivering what we promised to you is the Delhi model of governance.
But the fact is, Preeti, Satyendra Jain has been in jail for more than 6 months. And his resignation was not sought. I think what has happened is with Manish Sisodia, who really is the right-hand man, number 2, the administrative face of the Delhi government, also being arrested, and possibly no option. He simply had no option once Manish Sisodia was arrested, that he will have to, in a way, effect some changes in government. It cannot be business as usual. It cannot be status quo. That's exactly what's happened. For much too long, Arvind Kejriwal perhaps was hoping against hope that this liquor policy case the alleged scam will simply be brushed aside and he and his party can focus on expansion. Only in the next few weeks, he was supposed to travel across the country from Chhattisgarh to Karnataka, in a way trying to build bridgeheads for AAP out across the country. That's possibly now going to have to be deferred till such time as he ensures that this immediate crisis, which, as we discussed yesterday, is the worst crisis AAP has faced since its inception. Unless he can resolve that, Preeti, how does he now even hope to expand? And therefore, taking the resignations of the ministers is a first step towards acknowledging the nature of the crisis and then trying to find some solution. So I think in a way, Arvind Kejriwal was left with no choice once the Supreme Court today turned down Manish Sisodia's bail plea.
Well, and he also wants to continue, with his plan of going to all the election-bound states. So therefore, he wanted to settle the matter at the earliest, because that stays as planned. In the next 10 days, Arvind Kejriwal will be going to all the election-bound states. But joining me right now is Sanjay Singh, MP Rajya Sabha, Aam Aadmi Party. He's joining us. Sanjay ji, ऐसा क्या हो गया कि दोनों मंत्रियों ने इकट्ठा रिजाइन किया, रेजिग्नेशन दिया? कितना भार अब लगता है कैलाश गहलोत जी संभालेंगे, राजकुमार आनंद जी संभालेंगे, पर क्या हुआ कि इन दोनों के इस्तीफे मांगे गए?
देखिए, ऐसा है कि ये एक संकट का समय जरूर है, मुश्किल का समय है, और लेकिन मैं आपको ये कह सकता हूं कि अरविंद केजरीवाल जी दिल्ली के 2 करोड़ लोगों का भरोसा पाकर 3 बार मुख्यमंत्री बने हैं। उन्होंने बिजली पे, पानी पे, शिक्षा पे, स्वास्थ्य पे अनुकरणीय काम किया है, और उन्होंने मुनाफे का बजट दिया है दिल्ली के अंदर। तो वो जैसे पहले काम करते रहे हैं वैसे आगे भी करेंगे। ऐसी बाधाएं पहले भी हमारे सामने आई हैं, हमने उसका सामना किया, आगे भी करेंगे।
संजय जी, एक चीज बताइए, जो इस्तीफे हुए हैं इसमें अब सौरभ जी की अभी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस खत्म हुई है, वो कह रहे हैं कि 2 नए चेहरे आएंगे। क्या ये सौरभ और आतिशी होंगे? और जब तक ये नहीं आएंगे, कम से कम इनमें 1 या 2 महीने लगेंगे, सौरभ जी ये भी कह रहे हैं, कोई टाइमलाइन नहीं है। क्या तब तक ये जो पोर्टफोलियोज कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होंगे?
अब ये मुख्यमंत्री जी का विशेषाधिकार है, इसके बारे में वही फैसला लेंगे, उस पर मेरा कोई कमेंट करना ठीक नहीं।
चलिए, ये मुख्यमंत्री जी का विशेष अधिकार है। मुख्यमंत्री जी तो कोई पोर्टफोलियो नहीं रख रहे हैं, हमें यही सुनने में आया है, मुझे करेक्ट करिएगा अगर मैं रॉन्ग हूं। पर इसमें भाजपा कह रही है कि बहुत देर आए, 1 साल पहले, 10 महीने पहले इस्तीफा हो जाना चाहिए था। जब सीबीआई की रेड हुई मनीष सिसोदिया पे, तब इस्तीफा होना चाहिए था।
नहीं, बहुत सारे राजनीतिक दल आप देखिए, सीपीएम, सीपीआई, सीपीआई माले, आरजेडी, जेडीयू, केसीआर जी की पार्टी, अखिलेश यादव जी की पार्टी, हेमंत सोरेन जी की पार्टी, टीएमसी, सारे राजनीतिक दलों ने इस कार्रवाई की, शिवसेना, संजय रावत जी का बयान आया, सारे राजनीतिक दलों ने इस कार्रवाई को तानाशाहीपूर्ण बताया है और गलत बताया है। कांग्रेस ने अलग अलग राय, कुछ लोग इसकी तारीफ कर रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि बिल्कुल इनको तो फांसी पे चढ़ा देना चाहिए। लेकिन कल मैंने देखा कि जयराम रमेश जी का भी एक बयान आया कि जांच एजेंसियों का दुरुपयोग हो रहा है और ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। तो इतने सारे राजनीतिक दल देश भर में हैं, उन्होंने सब ने, विपक्ष के सारे दलों ने इस घटना की आलोचना की है।
संजय जी, आपको क्या विवश हो गए कि आपको ये रेजिग्नेशन करवाने पड़े? क्योंकि आज जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट है, उन्होंने भी जो भी आपकी याचिका थी उसको बोला है कि यहाँ पर मत आइएगा, हाई कोर्ट जाइएगा। तो अब क्या सिर्फ आपका धरना प्रदर्शन वही जारी रहेगा?
देखिए, प्रोटेस्ट तो होगा ही, क्योंकि देखिए लोकतंत्र में सड़क पर भी अपनी बात पहुंचानी है, सदन में भी अपनी बात पहुंचानी है और न्यायालय की भी लड़ाई। 3 मोर्चे हैं जहां पर हमको अपनी लड़ाई को लेके जाना है। अब एक ऐसी सरकार इस देश के अंदर बैठी हुई है जो फर्जी मामले लगाकर विपक्ष के लोगों को परेशान करती है, उनको जेल में डालती है, और जो बीजेपी से जुड़ा हुआ व्यक्ति है उसके ऊपर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं होती। मनीष सिसोदिया का गुनाह क्या है? दिल्ली के 18 लाख बच्चों को वो अच्छी शिक्षा दे रहे हैं। एक बेहतरीन शिक्षा का मॉडल दिल्ली में उन्होंने दिया, जिससे पूरे देश और दुनिया में उनका नाम हो रहा है। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की सरकार का नाम हो रहा है। अरविंद केजरीवाल की लोकप्रियता और आम आदमी पार्टी की लोकप्रियता देश के दूसरे हिस्सों में बढ़ रही। परेशानी यह है, यह मुकदमा पूरी तरीके से राजनीति के। आप बताइए, अगर मनीष सिसोदिया ने कोई घोटाला या घपला किया है, जो बीजेपी वाले कहते हैं 10,000 करोड़ की रिश्वत खा ली। अरे भाई, घर पे 14 घंटे छापेमारी कर ली सीबीआई ने, घर खोद डाला, कुछ नहीं मिला। गांव खोद डाला, कुछ नहीं मिला। दफ्तर में छापेमारी कर ली, कुछ नहीं मिला। बैंक का लॉकर चेक कर लिया, कुछ नहीं। अगर मनीष सिसोदिया ने कोई रिश्वत खाई है, कोई बेईमानी की है, कुछ तो संपत्ति, सोना, पैसा कुछ तो मिलता।
बहुत शुक्रिया संजय जी, आप हमसे जुड़े, बहुत शुक्रिया। थैंक यू देयर। वी आर गोना कीप एक्सपेक्टिंग मोर press conferences. Very quickly, I want to bring in Rajdeep for a quick word before we end the bulletin. Rajdeep, how do you see things go from here on? The other fact, do you think it was inevitable? Because the halo of Kattar Imandar was clearly getting dented, and this move had to be made quicker than later.
Oh, absolutely, Preeti. And let's also be clear that you can't defend Manish Sisodia on a corruption case by pointing to his track record on education. At some stage or the other, the Aam Aadmi Party will have to frontally answer the charges that are being made against them beyond just outrage. And I think while they can play the victim card for a while, there's a limit to how long you can play it. And therefore, I think the Aam Aadmi Party is recognizing it, Arvind Kejriwal is recognizing it, that you're almost going to have to take this opportunity to effect some kind of a facelift. Not easy, given the fact that Mr. Sisodia is such a critical player within the AAP's hierarchy. But I think a facelift is almost inevitable. What form that will take, how he will push that narrative. But clearly, as you rightly said, that anti-corruption image, the core of the AAP, has been badly dented by the arrest of Manish Sisodia.
All right, appreciate you joining us. Do stay with us. Our continuous coverage on the other side. Rahul Kaval, stay with us.
Wali painting, a mural art form of Maharashtra, gives the Aurangabad a facelift ahead of a G20 inception meeting. A group of 120 women painted non-stop for 6 hours to complete the artwork.
वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट शो करते हुए हम लोग ये जो प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं वारली का, वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट वारली पेंटिंग जो है, जिसका रिकॉर्ड पहले पूना में था, उसको पूना के रिकॉर्ड को ब्रेक करते हुए, उसको चैलेंज करते हुए आज हम सब लड़कियां, वी आर 120 लेडीज हियर वर्किंग फॉर दिस वारली पेंटिंग टुडे. और इसका सबसे बड़ा क्रेडिट जो जाता है, जो मेरी बहुत अच्छी फ्रेंड है, वो है नंदिनी घोडेले. ये कॉन्सेप्ट जो जहाँ से आई है, वो लड़की ने सर 21 इयर्स की लड़की है. दिस इज रियली अ मोटिवेशन टू ऑल द गर्ल्स ओवर हियर.
The work spread over 3,200 square feet will enter the India Book of Records 2024 in the social and cultural category. This painting breaks the earlier record of 3,050 square feet set by artists in Pune. I congratulate all the dignitaries, those who have taken efforts, जिन्होंने इस इवेंट को एक सक्सेसफुल बनाया है, and congratulations to Aurangabad Municipal Corporation. There were no professional artists among the 120 participants. They came from different professions like medicine, accountancy, and engineering. Bureau Report, India Today.
The integration of Air India and Vistara needs to go through a regulatory approval process. There are 3 steps to that process. One is competition clearance. The second is from a DGCA regulatory aviation perspective. And the third is obviously the merger of the 2 companies. We are in the process of the first phase, seeking competition clearance. But in anticipation of this, we are working together with some external parties to work on what are the areas of opportunity in an integrated business, what are the things that we need to focus on in the process of that integration, and what would the end state look like once we have received clearance to actually embark on the integration process. The intention is to end up with 1 full-service airline and 1 low-cost airline in the group. The full-service airline will be an amalgam of Air India and Vistara, but we expect that many of the practices and systems will be those of Vistara, being a younger, privatized airline that has been able to imbibe the learnings that it brings from its other shareholders. We are not unaware of what they have in terms of systems and processes, and so over the course of the privatization process and the last year, a lot of the transformation that we've been doing at Air India has been with a view to put ourselves on a similar platform as Vistara, so that in the event the merger is approved, it's a much more seamless and faster process. I think there are certainly there's a desire to carry forward the heritage of both erstwhile Air India and Vistara into the new Air India. Quite the form in which that Vistara component takes, we're still working through. Vistara clearly has achieved a lot of success and very strong recognition and respect in the Indian market. But if you look outside the Indian market, clearly Air India is much more recognized and has a 90-year history. So we've communicated to staff that the future full-service carrier will be called Air India, but we would like to retain and celebrate some of the Vistara heritage in that new manifestation.
When you want to, pick up the pace if you like. Slow down if you wish to. Well, as you can see, I'm doing a very simple form of exercise. It is walking. And there are many hidden benefits of walking. I'm here to tell you about all the hidden benefits of walking today. Does the sight of this overwhelm you? Are you always running out of time and can't make time to go to a gym? Do you feel worried about not getting any physical activity? Then don't, because walking even for a few minutes a day can go a long way in doing wonders for your health.
It affects our heart, it affects our liver, it affects our blood pressure, it affects our muscles, it affects our bone, it affects our brain, it affects our coordination, it affects our psyche. Walking releases endorphins, which are mood elevators. So really speaking, if you are walking every day, you are really living, otherwise you're not living at all.
The benefits of walking are many, and it goes beyond getting in some physical activity in. To start with, this is a great way to boost your mental health.
If you're looking to benefit from how you can cope effectively with the situations, the stresses that you have in your life, integrating an activity like walking can be also extremely helpful.
Just 30 minutes every single day can increase cardiovascular fitness, strengthen bones, reduce excess body fat, and boost muscle power and endurance. It can also reduce your risk of developing conditions such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, and some cancers. Don't have 30 minutes to walk? Even 10 will do.
In fact, even when you're at home, a lot of times you'll find yourself sitting on a couch or lying down in your bed, not really moving about. And in fact, if you can integrate even an activity like walking for just about 10 minutes in your day, it can have immense benefits for your mental well-being.
Walking also helps in improving sleep, in dealing with insomnia. Studies show it reduces the risk of coronary heart disease as well.
Tragedies can either break you or make you. And this story from Naxal hit Gadchiroli will inspire you in many ways. Bharati Bogami was just 17 when her father, the Sarpanch of Lahiri village, was shot dead by Naxals in 2002. A brain tumor survivor, she faced several financial problems and yet continued her struggle to become a doctor. She now serves in the same area where her father was killed.
मैं सोच रही थी अब तो पापा चले गए, आज ये सब होने के बाद अगर यही मेरा फ्यूचर, अगर मैं पेपर ना दूं तो आगे कैसे बढ़ूं। मेरे पापा की एक ख्वाहिश थी कि मुझे बचपन से मुझे बोलते थे, नर्स बोलते थे, डॉक्टर बोलते थे, ऐसे मुझे अच्छा लगता था। पढ़ाई पूरी होने के बाद मैंने सोच लिया या तो सब सिटी में रहकर सब लोगों को तो डॉक्टर है, लेकिन मेरे गाँव को मेरे लोगों की बहुत ज़रूरत है। मेरे दिल में ऐसे कुछ तो भी चुभन जैसी लग रही थी कि अपने गाँव जाके मैं सेवा दूँ, इसीलिए फिर मैं रिटर्न आ गई।
Bogami found a life and work partner in Satish, who moved from Beed to the tribal area only to support her dream of serving her village.
मेरी जो बीवी है उसने मुझे मोटिवेट किया कि उन्होंने मुझे ये बताया कि डॉक्टर प्रकाश आमटे, डॉक्टर मंदाकिनी आमटे, डॉक्टर दिगांत आमटे और डॉक्टर अंदाकिनी आमटे वो जो कार्य वहाँ करते, उनसे कुछ मैं इंस्पायर होके मुझे भी ऐसा कुछ लगा दिल को कि अपन जाके आरोग्य में थोड़ी तो सेवा देना। मेरे अंतर्गत जो 52 गाँव है वहाँ जाना इम्पॉसिबल है। कई बाइक पे जाना पड़ता, कई जगह 10-10 किलोमीटर चलते हुए जाना पड़ता, वो आरोग्य सेवा देना पड़ता है।
Bharati and her husband have made it an aim to serve people in her village where health facilities are not easily available. Bureau Report, India Today.
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies. Co-presented by Century Ply, आग से बचाए. Co-presented by Macho Hind, बड़े आराम से. Co-powered by See It helps. Co-powered by Sera, this is your space, play it your way. Hyundai Ioniq 5, the all-electric SUV.
Good evening and welcome. You're watching the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. How will the Aam Aadmi Party function now that Arvind Kejriwal's key aide and associate Manish Sisodia is in custody? What happens to the future of the AAP? We'll look at that in detail on the news track.
Big Delhi Sarkar quake. After arrest, Sisodia resigns. Satyendra Jain quits too. Top Kejriwal ministers out. What happens to Delhi government now? Big focus on news track.
Here's a look at the headlines I'm tracking tonight. In his resignation letter, Manish Sisodia declares no one in the world can call him corrupt. His 18 portfolios will be distributed among Kailash Gehlot and Rajkumar Anand. UP cops probe gangster turned Neta Atiq Ahmed. Another Umesh Pal murder conspirator is pictured with Akhilesh Yadav. Samajwadi Party says he is a BJP worker. Tipu politics rages on in Karnataka. BJP MLA goes on an abusive tirade against the ruler, says only Shivaji supporters should win the elections. Galwan hero's father abused, thrashed and jailed over his son's memorial in Bihar. Cops claim the memorial was built on encroached land. GDP slows for the third straight quarter at 4.4% amid high inflation and waning consumer demand.